Now you can speak, idiots. Hi, guys. We are live. Welcome. We have Lewis with us.
See my hand. Yeah.
Well, I'd actually rather have your delicious hot dog than your hand. Your hand's not important to me.
I'm back.
Only mustard.
Oh, man. Yeah, so this is the live show. We are going to talk about the Back to the Future trilogy.
A retrospective.
Retrospective.
But before we jump into that, because I haven't been on for a while.
Who the fuck is clickety clacking with their mic open?
Alex.
Me.
Your fucking microphone.
No.
Yes. You realize. Guess what, asshole? You're muted. I could change it.
Why is he typing like murder?
Seriously, are you a stenographer on your off time? Like,
no, I was responding.
My
to the chat.
date was really good.
Thank you for asking. Hello, diary.
I was just learning to love.
Oh man, we're running through that again. We just got to season 3, but we're watching the Superfan episodes, and they're at least a lot of them are at least 10 minutes longer.
I think they're up to 4 seasons of the Superfan episodes.
I really wish they'd bring out some more, because I mean, some of them add some like whatever scenes, and then you could tell on why they cut some of them, because like the characters start to break.
Yeah,
and like, but they, those I like even more. I don't know. I wish they would just give me more. Everything that's in the deleted scenes, shove it in. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the episodes are an hour long.
Yeah, well, I've been dying to talk about another great show that I've been watching, Halo.
Jesus.
It started as me. I watched the first episode 3 times, and in my head I was like, "This show sucks. I'm gonna get the book." So I downloaded all of like 33 books.
And wouldn't you know it? The books are fucking terrible.
And like I'm episode 4 is out right now.
Have you watched it yet?
I want to punch a wall.
Like, dude, so I'm going to describe episode 4 right now. It's Master Chief, helmet on, helmet off.
Yeah.
Helmet on, helmet off.
That's the thing. So this show does the like camera pans around the character looks at the camera thinking, and it does like
in the screenplay was parentheses thinking.
Yeah, like, but it's funny because Halo is dog shit. The show's ass. But
oh wow,
I'm watching that. And I had started Moon Knight, which is cool, but it dawned on me that these shows that use CGI, it's like either spend the money and use CGI or don't and be practical.
Yeah, either use the Avengers Endgame team.
Yeah.
Or don't make the entire fucking Moon Knight CG. Like, and the worst part about it is the cape.
Oh yeah, the cape is very jarring.
Yeah,
it's like off-putting, and it makes me think in Halo they brought in Cortana, and every time you see Cortana, it's so uncanny valley. You just feel uncomfortable.
Why does she look like a Karen?
Her not only that, her lips don't match up with what she's saying.
Wait,
when they
really?
show her on screen, it's like her character is a badly dubbed Asian film. Like,
the only good thing.
Hello.
The only good thing that show has is it's the original voice of Cortana, and she talks like the cadence and everything. But it like talking about it makes me want to punch something. That's how much I have a problem Halo is.
Crash says it's good though.
No. Hold on. We can't let that fly. No, it's not good.
Well,
wait, it's shit.
You can't take whatever Crash says.
He's got Halo, or is he talking about Moon Knight?
No, he's talking about. I hope he's talking about Moon Knight, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about Halo. And we all know his tastes are fucking. He is like all he has to do is have Master Chief in the show for him to fucking enjoy it.
So here's the problem, Crash. Here's what I'll tell you. If we call this not Halo, let's name the show not Halo, and we've never played the Halo game.
Oh, Moon Knight. He is talking about Moon Knight.
Okay, so they're both talking about Moon Knight.
Okay.
They're both talking about Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight is good.
Moon Knight is good, but
Vet says there's so much damn cheese in it, though.
You know what it is? First off, there hasn't been a ton of action. And so right now, all you have in Moon Knight is essentially Oscar Isaac's performance carrying the show. That's it.
Okay.
Like you have some mystery.
Oscar Isaac.
Oh, and he's great. Like he really does carry it. Between having several personalities, the lore, which they've gone into a little bit. I haven't watched the newest episode. I think the first 3.
Either.
They really need to kick off with some more action, though. I think that's where. I mean, it's kind of like we're stuck in the first 30 minutes of The Mummy. We only see a little bit. You know, it's like let's explore some more, please.
And that's only 6 episodes, I believe.
I feel bad for Ethan Hawke.
I have good taste, you hoes. It's just different than yours. No, you don't, sir. I like how they deal with multiple personalities. I do too. I mean, go ahead and list off some of your favorites there, Crash.
No, but see, okay, I'll side with you, Crash, for a second. I can understand you enjoy the show, but doing this podcast, I'm now conditioned that I can't enjoy something without breaking stuff down, and the CGI in the cape is jarring. The CGI in I think it's the first or second episode, the car chase scene. Yeah. Like some of it just looks so wonky, and it's like you gotta go all in or don't do it. And
I think the use of reflections is pretty brilliant, though.
Yeah.
How many episodes they got on now? 3?
4, I think now.
4?
Sundays, I believe, is when it releases.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I thought new ones come out every Thursday, but
I think
that's Halo that I'm thinking of.
So Halo, the problem with Halo is I've watched the clip where it goes into its first-person segments. And this is where you really want to tread lightly when you're a show like this, because there's literal direct comparisons to the game, and the game looks better.
No.
How the fuck is that possible? That the latest game, I mean, the newest game, will say Infinite. I was thinking Halo 5, but Infinite looks infinitely better than its TV show counterpart. Like, if you haven't played Infinite, go watch videos on how compare them to those. And what's up with this with the first person? Like, why? Literally, first persons are locked into proper aim, and I'm watching the scene where they go into the first person combat, and it's like, hey, my gun's at this fucking angle.
It's like strapping a GoPro to a baby.
Gun?
It's like his helmet, bro.
Oh.
And it's literally got a free motion, though. Like, his arms are made of fucking silly putty.
Until they'll be animated when you move. And he's like, okay, I'm going to be animated.
Yeah, and
the one thing that annoyed me, if you've seen episode 4, and you saw episode 4, Anthony?
Yeah.
So in episode 4, they did something where they didn't have to take Master Chief's helmet off ever.
It's hot out.
They did a shot.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
Inside his helmet. And I'm like, I was screaming at the television.
Is it like Iron Man, Tony Stark type thing?
So they do 2 shots. They do a Tony Stark thing, but the better thing they do, which I wish they would have stuck with, is picture a Tony Stark shot, but the camera's off to the side, and really you just see his eyes and part of his upper cheek, and you see the screen he's looking
outside the visor.
They should have done that.
Through the visor.
Give me Master Chief's eyes if you want.
Why do we need to see him?
Exactly.
You know why, right? The same reason we need to see the Mandalorian, because of fucking fragile egos.
You see more than him. You see Master Chief.
I would actually argue, I'd say Mandalorian is Pedro Pascal's ego being like, yo, I am the main star. And they're like, yeah, but. And he's like, yeah, but. I think this was more like the writers are like, never played the games, did we? Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody customizes their armor in games now. Even Halo does. They must take off the helmets.
The funny thing is, man, we could do a whole episode bitching about Halo, but you had the perfect formula for Halo. Master Chief stays in the armor, and give me the story of an ODST trooper. Boom. I've taken care of so much work for you. They just should have done that. Like, what about Chief in his armor, keep him mysterious.
What about the wild concept of you made the main character an ODST soldier?
Yeah, and make him buck or something.
And Chief comes in like a goddamn god in firefights and just fucking wrecks everything on the field. And you have scenes of like, you know, like every time Chief is on screen, it's like the villain of a fucking horror movie almost, where everybody's like fucking butthole tight. Like, don't fuck with this guy, because when and that's the way they should keep it. They should keep it to where when he's on camera, he's just murdering fucking aliens. Like, and then you can have, you know, some dialogue, but once again, he should be RoboCop-esque. It should be minimal conversation, you know what I mean? Like, he should have a very kind of cold, like, demeanor, and instead you get to see his ass.
No, he rips out his inhibitor chip, and now he's feeling things.
Oh, is that really the storyline? Are you
Yep.
fucking killing? Oh god, damn it! That's the
I know.
same storyline as Universal fucking Soldier. You realize that, right? The thing he cuts out of his fucking leg. Are you kidding me?
Yep. It's literally about his feelings.
Dude, and I also hear that he's not even the main character. It's the
No.
chick.
It's
It's the chick who can apparently have bullets pass through her.
Gers, hello.
Episode 3, so.
I would argue that RoboCop, I don't think he like ever gets feelings again. I think that's the whole point. Like he has the memories and he has the like I should feel, but I don't. But Universal Soldier, that is the exact story. He escapes and then he meets the girl and he pulls the chip out and he's got to put his balls on ice for half the film. But in between then and then he falls in love. And why would you rip off that movie of all things? Like they literally were like RoboCop, Universal Soldier. I was a child of the '80s. It's cool. It's hip.
Because it was Van Damme.
But in RoboCop, Murphy is a lot of emotion is thrown at Murphy, and he doesn't understand it.
He also Murphy
But he
just
never understands.
that's when RoboCop gets into like he's like anxious when he's like God damn I gotta get out of here, like he starts getting all weird with his head.
Man, that was all me bitching at Halo though. What have you guys been watching?
I've been doing Blacklist, continuing Blacklist.
No more about the fucking Blacklist.
It's been really good.
How many weeks do we have to hear about Blacklist?
Until I'm done with it.
How many seasons
But
is it?
I only watch 1 or 2 episodes.
There's 11? No, I don't know.
11?
A
No,
night.
I was kidding. I was
No, I
kidding.
think there's like 5 or 6.
Oh, that's it?
Five or
You
six
watch it
seasons.
while drinking your Ovaltine?
Yeah.
I want to say
But I've been
Blacklist too,
watching-
but that's like an old person show.
I want to watch it too, but it is a little, yeah.
On Shudder, the Cursed Film series is
Yeah,
actually
season
really good.
2.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, is it out? Fuck.
Yes, it's good.
I fell out of
That's all
touch
we
with Shudder.
watching.
Alex, what you been watching?
I've been watching. I'm still actually, Johnny. There's 9 seasons. I've been watching Titans. Today I watched Happy Feet because I wanted to get depressed, and
Why is it depressing?
Just a grown man
'Cause
crying watching.
it's-
Happy.
it's this father trying to take care of the egg of his kid, and he drops it, and then he thinks that he gave his kid like brain damage because he only tap dances instead of singing. Then he gets caught by humans. It's it's like one of those weird fucking things.
It kind of is a depressing
For
story.
It
some
is, it
reason,
is.
you mentioning Happy Feet made me think of a tangent. But ever since the Will Smith slap, our Alexa we have, and I'm sorry if I triggered if anyone's listening to an Alexa, ours we have sitting under my TV, and we have it there so Rory can talk to Shay at work or while she's driving. But it has ads, and ever since that, it's been recommending Will Smith movies like crazy.
I Am Legend, not bad. Hancock, didn't know I wanted to watch it, but yes, I
Shark
do.
Tale.
Bad Boys 1 through 3 collection.
Oh man. Anyways, go ahead, Alex.
No, but that's about it. There was a couple other things I just can't remember what it was. I fucking fell asleep and Clarissa Explains It All came on from
Oh,
Nickelodeon.
Jesus, that's a throwback. Holy shit.
Yeah. So
What, did
like,
you
there
fall
was,
asleep in a time machine?
No, Paramount. I fell asleep with Paramount.
Oh,
I mean,
that makes sense.
but yeah, that's about it.
I haven't been watching a ton. I mainly kung fu movies.
God damn it.
You know what, man? They're not making them. Like I watched that Fistful of Vengeance, which is the movie sequel to Wu's Assassins. Wasn't very happy with it. It was okay. Yeah, it was like whatever. They're not really making good martial arts movies anymore. I really want to watch that new one they got out there, something of Madness, the woman from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Police Story 2, Operation Condor.
Universe
Universe or something like that.
some
That fucking movie looks awesome. I'll wait till that hits VOD.
Michelle Yeoh, something like that.
I bought a couple movies that I totally fucking plan on watching. One of them is Waxwork. I got that on Vudu, as well as Rocket Man, the Harlan Williams movie. I saw that and I was like, all right, cool.
Do you have Bubble Boy?
I don't think I do. Batman, yes,
Is that-
Batman is on the HBO. I cannot wait to fucking watch that. We're gonna review it
this
next
is
week.
like
This Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
You
Fuck
know
them.
what's
Release it on a
amazing, Matt,
Friday.
is I've watched so many horror movies, and I didn't know of Waxwork until you brought it up, and I
Oh.
really fucking like that
Dude,
movie.
isn't it just the perfect mix of fucking
Yeah.
80s cheese? But yeah, I mean, I haven't. There's a couple shows that I want to start, but like a personal show. But like, I always kind of feel bad because it's like you start watching, it's like fuck, Jen would like this. You know, like 2 episodes in, you kind of like, ah, shit, this could be a show we'd watch together. Oh, I am currently, once again, we are running through Office. We're in like season 3. And it gets easier after season 4 as far as time because then you run out of superfan episodes and they're back to like 21 minutes an episode. And then
Yeah,
we
but
just
then
blow
you have
through them
to
like that.
then you have to well, like right around like 4, so you have to prepare yourself for the sadness.
Well,
like
see,
you
that's
know
the
it's coming.
okay. So that I equate watching The Office to like a lifelong friend that lives out of country, and they come over for a month, right? And like you're with them the whole time. You have ups and downs, and then it's like at the end of The Office, you're forced to say goodbye to your like at this point friends, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like a mind fuck. Every time we watch it, like you get a little depressed after that. And I've actually read into it. There is a like dopamine thing with it when ending a favorite show where it kind of triggers some depression. And how fucked up is that?
I was talking with my wife about that the other day because I get like Giovanni gets like that with video games. I get like that with books.
I get like
in a
yeah.
series.
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm gonna hold off from reading this last book just because I know I'm gonna get a like bout of depression where I'm
Dude.
like, what do I do with my fucking life now? Like,
All through God of War, I was like, fuck, man. What? Like, it's amazing that we've gotten to the point of like where video games can really hit home. Like, there's
Yeah.
games out there that really can fuck with you emotionally. And then it's kind of like, how the fuck do we let it get to that point where video games can like break you? Like, I'm over here.
Do you
I
know your game that breaks you?
Well, okay, so in my current life, I got some dead mommy issues when it comes to the emotions. So, like, the beginning of God of... Okay, so
the emotionless Matt has
I have
emotions.
2 emotions. They fight each other constantly. God of War came out a month or so after my mom died. So, if you don't know, the beginning of God of War
oh, it's rough.
is you are burying Kratos' dead wife and the kid's dead mom. And actually, it's... When you finish the game, you realize how integral her death was and how by design everything was. But that's how the game starts. And I remember, like, I didn't know that. I didn't read anything about it. It was one of those games where I was like, I can't fucking wait. I don't want to ruin anything. And it punched me in the goddamn chest. It was like, dude, that's one of them. UFC fucked with me because it's an asshole.
Doesn't Jumanji fuck with you too?
Well, no. So, okay, hold on. I'll tell you that story. So, UFC literally, it came out once again. Like my mom died in March. It came out April something, and I'm playing it, and I won the champion. And it has these things where it gives you tweets, and there was a tweet, and it's like, "I'm proud of you, son," and it was like, "Tweet from mom."
No.
And I remember, like, it was like 2 a.m, and I just remember it literally was one of those like solid tears, just one. And I was like, "Goddamn UFC!" Like,
Matt's had the song "You're the Best."
I had a moment like that today with my wife. She called me because my daughter had to go get a blood test done, and she calls me to tell me that our oldest daughter was feeling faint, and then I can hear my wife in the background going, "By the time we find somebody to help you, you're gonna die."
Jesus,
And-
that's a good old Filipino.
And I was like, no, wait, listen. I was like, holy shit, this reminds me of when my mom was taking me to the ER because I got attacked by a cat. Like it clawed my legs when I was a little kid, and it bit my ankle and everything. And my mom's driving me around the ER, and she didn't want to pay for parking. She wanted to park on the streets.
shove you out of the moving car.
She goes, by the time I find parking, you're gonna be dead. And I'm like fucking 5 years old. And I'm like, what? And the fucking tears, and I'm like, what? And I told my wife today, I was like, you just did what my mom did to me to our oldest daughter. It was fucking funny.
That's the best thing ever, though, is saying something dark in front of your kid and watching their mind shatter, and then being like, "I'm just fucking with you." Like,
It's cool. I'm fucking with you. You're fine. We're all fine. It's just some cuts. But I'm pretty sure that was set out of frustration from your mom, though. That was just like, it was basically either that or shut the fuck up. You know, it's like.
Well, here's the thing. My wife was actually in the hospital, and nobody wanted to help them because she was asking, like, can somebody help me? The vending machine wasn't giving out any, like, she put in money for the vending machine, so she couldn't get any sweets or anything to give to my oldest to get her blood sugar going again. So it was just like one of those weird.
That's why I always keep an emergency bag of family share size M&Ms in any pair of pants I'm wearing.
Every pair of pants you're wearing.
I literally do laundry, and before I fold, I slip them right in the pocket.
Matt's got 2 duffel bags, one with a bunch of guns that would piss off any Democrat, and another with just M&Ms.
I'm the type of guy that like
don't want your
just
pants
the
to be
red,
too
white,
hot.
and blue.
I'm on the
ones.
battlefield and I take a shot to the shoulder and jelly beans shoot out because I was hiding them within my armor.
You don't want your pants to be too warm though when you put the M&Ms in there, right?
No, never. That's why you
Okay.
keep it towards the outer legs and never the nether regions. I remember there was one time we went to go to the theater and we had like Dollar Tree candy because that was the best way to do it. You go to fucking Dollar Tree and you just like pack my wife's purse. And I remember one time they were like, they flagged it and opened. They're like, you got to bring this back in the car. And I was like, ah, damn it. And then just stuffed it in my pockets. And the same amount, like I had bulging fucking cargo jeans at the time. And they couldn't look like they couldn't touch you, so they didn't check the pants. And so I'm literally kind of like waddling in with these fucking 30 pounds of candy on my leg.
You're just full to the brim with fucking snow caps falling out of your pockets.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like it's literally all the stuff that rattles, you know, like nothing's. It's like it's all compacted in by a big bag of fucking gummy bears. Good times. We are here actually to review or talk about some movies.
We are.
We are.
So yeah, I guess we'll jump into it. So Back to the Futures.
Trilogies.
They star a bunch of the same people, so I just want to go over the dates that came out.
We'll talk about the cast changes from one to the other.
Yeah, so all right, so first movie came out July 3rd, 1985. Second one came out 89, year I was born. And the third one came out 90. So man, there was a 4-year break, but they got the other 2 out pretty quick.
Well, the other 2 were filmed back to
11
back,
months.
much like
Yeah.
the Matrix movies.
They filmed them in
Yeah, that's
11
true.
months.
That's why at the
Yeah,
end
but
of the
when
second one,
you-
you get that Back to the Future will return 1990.
The crazy thing though is when you look at how much money the first movie made, I'm surprised they waited that long. Because like, so the budget for the first one was 19 mil. It made $388 million, and this is in 85.
I would
Like,
argue a decent amount of it, like from the first movie had like some location shooting, I feel like, and the second movie was all sets. So that I would
Yeah.
imagine
well,
like
the fucking budget on the
They spent
following
2 years. They spent 2 years building sets.
yeah, that's right. I'd love to know if the Wild West set is still up. I want to
That'd
go
be
visit
nice.
Hill. Dude, all right. First off, was anybody else as a kid when they watched this just like, why can't I have been raised in Hill Valley? This lovely little fucking town. Like, why am I in gangbanger Roscoe Village right now when I could be in fucking Hill Valley?
Well, at some point, it does become the bad neighborhood of the whole thing.
In 20, what is the alternate 1985? The
Yeah.
school's been
And
closed for
also-
6 years.
I think twice it becomes like the bad neighborhood in the future as well.
No, the Hillsdale. Well, yeah, Hill Valley is the Lions Estates becomes overrun, and then Hilldale, which was supposed to be the upper class neighborhood, is like the shit neighborhood now. So like,
Yeah.
Lions went way worse, and then the high class went worse, and now it's. I mean, the whole like literally Doc Brown talks about how he has to break into the fucking library
Yeah.
because it's been boarded up.
Yeah, so the budget for the following 2, the second and third, it's the same as 40 million. And they made a bit less. Second one made 332 mil, and the third made 246. So these movies together
Very
have
profitable.
made just shy of $1 billion. And Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis they still to this day say that they will never make another one or a reboot. I shit you not, as soon as those 2 die, Universal's going to make a reboot.
Yeah.
It's going to
they're
be another
ruin it.
Ghostbusters Afterlife. Doc Brown's going to die.
Well, Tom Holland has said he would like to play Marty and Robert Downey Jr. play
Oof.
Doc.
I can't say I hate that idea.
It's not a bad one.
God, I just
I
want
don't know,
Would
we're
Robert
raising
Downey
Doc
Jr. have the
Brown.
gray hair though?
I mean, they would make him.
Yeah, but it would be if Robert Downey Jr.
He would be in the Iron Man suit.
No, if RDJ played him, it would be basically RDJ with Doc Brown accents. Like he would still play fucking Tony Stark no matter what.
Yeah, that's true.
But RDJ is probably the only person at that age who has that energy, because Doc Brown has
I mean, how old do you
an
want to go?
energy about him.
How do you want to go? Because if it's a sequel or like a reboot sequel where you're doing it present time, you could theoretically do anybody. I mean, you've still got a lot of older actors that would work, but then it comes in like, well, I mean, shouldn't we cast a black Doc Brown? Does Marty have to be white? Just saying. That's what it becomes, and then that becomes the argument, and that soils the fucking movie in general, and nobody cares, is the problem with that. And it's like, I agree, don't do a reboot, don't do a sequel, but you're right, as soon as they're dead, it's going to be like, well, the property's owned by us. Marty would be a woman.
A swearing
would be a woman, yeah, but-
Morgan Freeman Doc Brown would be pretty funny.
Ooh, I would do Morgan Freeman. But could Morgan Freeman do Christopher Walken?
Oh, that would be good. Oh, Willem Dafoe, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Different,
This makes me sad to say. Robin Williams could have been a Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have been a really.
What about
good
Dennis
Doc Brown.
Hopper? Do you think he could have been a Doc Brown?
Dennis Hopper?
Yeah.
No.
No,
Short.
Not even with his comedy.
Waterworld wasn't supposed to be a comedy.
The fucking actor that
He
had
has
a
comedy in other
motorcycle
shit.
accident and now he's all loopy. Gary Busey. Let's
Oh,
get Gary
Busey.
Oh
as-
wow.
Oh, can he still remember lines? I'm gonna tell you.
Jeez.
I'm gonna tell you
Why
what
don't you get
means.
fucking-
What
why don't you
means
get
water
Randy Quaid?
polo, high as a kite, alpha. I like Tigger.
Get Randy Quaid to do it.
Oh God, I don't think Hollywood will ever touch Randy Quaid again.
Cousin Eddie.
I mean, he has gone like full Unabomber at this point, where he just posts weird videos with psychedelic lighting. I've gone to the third dimension, and have you seen his crazy fucking conspiracy? Like, dude, I'm just look up Randy Quaid on YouTube, and he's got videos where like the camera's like, no joke, it's here, and it's just fucking like crazy colored lighting and shit.
That's incredible.
Libyans would be, the Libyans would be replaced by Russians. You got to remember now, post Ukraine, every bad guy in the movies, if it's international, will be Russians.
That's true.
That's the status quo now. Why attack anybody else? They're gonna. No, this is more realistic because we've canceled them.
And now it makes more sense than ever.
Yeah. Although I do find it hard to believe that Russia, while invading a country, is still like dabbling in so much espionage elsewhere. Like, don't they have resources a little tied up right now?
Can you imagine if they remade Red Dawn for the third time? And they finally went with just Russians?
What did they change it? They changed it from Chinese to what? North Koreans in the remake?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was two. It was Russians. It was Russians and Chinese, or Russians and Korean.
Well, no, they were Russians and Chinese in the original, but they changed it.
I think it was only Russians in the original.
The
was
remake
it?
had Josh Peck.
Yeah, I know.
Late
Yeah,
Patrick Swayze.
well, he was like a cameo in it, wasn't he? Because Chris Hemsworth was the main guy in it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's North Korea.
Yeah, they changed it to North Korea when I think originally it was Russia and China.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Russia and China.
Wow,
Yeah.
that movie made no money.
Yeah, nobody
Holy
wants
shit.
to watch that. Maybe now it would have done better. Let's re-release it and milk this motherfucker.
Let's see what happens.
So yeah, Back to the Future 1 is in my. I mean, here's the thing: is I look at these movies as a whole. Like, I love them, all three of them. Straight up, not even gonna worry about hot dogs. Mine is a 5 because that's not really what matters. What matters is like these movies are brilliant in that they made a movie, and I don't know. First off, they filmed most of a movie, recast Marty McFly, and then refilmed most of a movie again.
It was only 6 weeks of filming though.
Out of how long was the filming?
Who was going to be the replacement?
Eric Stoltz was the original.
Eric Stoltz was the original.
Yeah, I
You know him
So there
from
was
nothing.
an
That's
interview-
why.
There was an interview with Leah Thompson where she had talked about how they did a table read with all the cast, and everybody was having a great time and laughing and running through lines. And Eric Stoltz, his takeaway from it when he was asked about it, he goes, everybody was laughing and joking. He goes, but this wasn't that serious of a movie. He goes, it's sad because I'm the only one that experienced everything, and everybody else's life moves on as normal. Like he didn't get that it was actually a comedy. He thought it was a serious drama.
Well, you do get people that are like the actors, like I mean, I don't know if he's method, but you get people that go real deep. Your Daniel Day-Lewis's. I have to like even Crispin Glover wasn't invited back because he says because of his mouth, because I guess he didn't like the way the movie ended, because to him it said basically that your reward for going through all of this and everything isn't love, isn't family,
monetary.
it's money. You get a nice truck, you have a nice house, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And
but the
Spielberg, I
irony
think,
in
basically
that,
told him to fuck off.
the irony in that is, Crispin, your reward for doing your fucking job is a paycheck. Like,
Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
756 million.
So,
Or,
well,
I'm sorry, 100,000.
well, he also did sue them in one because in the second one they used
They
cast. Well, yeah, they used cast from his face
poor Jeffrey Weissman
to-
tried his hardest.
to
Yeah.
to put on like a mask from the guy who was playing him. So every scene that they show Crispin Glover in the second one, it's not him clearly. And then,
It's him upside down too.
yeah, and then they did refilm those scenes though, like where they're in the at the end of the dance where he's talking about like how you guys, I thought you guys were gonna hit it off
Yeah,
because they're all from different angles, so they did have to refilm those. That's why like anytime that's a scene where, and I mean, let's be honest, in the second one they use as much fucking footage from the first one as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they tried to do as best as they could to have him in the movie without him being in the movie. But there's all those little filler scenes from the different angles in the second one where you see him and he's usually his face is covered, or it's from this angle, or he's upside down, as Alex says when he comes to Marty's house in the sequel. The first two, I mean, what I like about these is they all three differ in tone, kind of wildly too.
Well, what I liked was the first two was all about Marty and his family. The third one was all about Doc Brown and Marty's relationship, but it was mainly about Doc Brown.
Yeah.
I like how they went in that direction. And
Doc Brown, by the way, total badass by number 3.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
You know,
and he uses science to fucking do everything he's doing. He
Ice
fucking made a
cube.
giant ass ice cube maker.
it's
Ice
dirty
cube
too.
maker,
It's
not ice
dirty.
cubes.
When it comes out, it's dirty on top of it.
It's only one
Iced
ice cube, by the
tea.
way. This giant ass machine makes one ice cube. His sniper rifle fucking gun.
I can hit the
or
wings
rifle.
off a net.
It's a rifle, but it's got fucking a sniper scope on it.
I do like the seeds that the primarily the second one plants when they talk about Mad Dog Biff Tanner. They show Marty play the Wild Gunner arcade. Towards the end of the movie, the nodes to the third
With
one
Elijah Wood,
get a little
Elijah.
too heavy though.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like, we're going to the West next one. Like a lot of that. They show you the photo, and so I will say we talked about this via text. I think the second and third are wildly underrated.
Yeah. Well, the third gets shit on.
Terrible. It's Blade
I-
Trinity to a
but
lot of the fans for some
I-
reason.
Out of the three, I favor the third more than any of them.
Second one's
I'm
my fave.
I'm also the type of person where, like, the same with John Wick. Like, I enjoy the John Wick films as a trilogy. It's hard for me to just say, like one of them sucked. Or, like, usually, like a film like this, Back to the Future, like Harry Potter, I can't just watch the first one. It's usually like, no, I'm gonna go through them all.
I
Like,
will give John Wick's credit. Each movie has more and more action.
Yeah.
Like by the third movie, there's very little talk, and it's basically just murder.
But it's one of those things where it's like The Office too. Like, you can't. No one just, like, at least us. We're not like, I'm just gonna watch one episode. No, you want to
No.
enjoy the whole thing.
And if you
And-
start season 1, you want to finish it to get over the worst season, so you can get into the real Office.
Yeah, I hate the term when people are like, just keep going, it gets better. But for The
Yeah.
Office, literally the
Well,
first season.
Breaking
keep
Breaking Bad is like
Keep
that
going.
too.
Yes,
Like
it is.
if you
Yeah.
have a hard time getting into
Because it's very
Breaking,
dry.
well, the season 1 was made for no network. They filmed it and they pitched it to whoever they could, and the only people who picked it up was AMC. So season 1 has a significantly lower budget than the rest of the seasons, much like The Office. If you notice, everything changes in season 2. The sets change, the outside location shooting changes, it all changes. Like the budget changes and they put backing to it. Like the first seasons in those shows are essentially filmed to be like, if we do a one-off, at least we got this off. And then when they continue is where you see the true genius. And I agree, it's really is a cliche of like, no, man, get through the first season. But there are several shows. Community is another show. Not Community. For me, Parks and Recreation is
Yeah.
another
Yeah,
show.
Parks, yeah.
You got to get through the first season and really before that show opens up and blossoms.
Yeah, I do like Parks and Rec too. Yeah.
So can we, since we're talking Back to the Future, can we address the Pornhub incest in the room about the
Jesus.
first movie?
Into the second movie too.
Calvin
Yeah.
Klein.
Because they're like rewatching this now. I was watching it the first one the other day, and my son was playing around, and it's also like a dad thing where like I'm watching all these movies I grew up with, and my dad mode is like they're swearing a lot in here.
Yeah.
So
Oh my.
yeah, I was like the scene as soon as Leah Thompson like is like fucking drooling over him while he's sleeping on the bed, I'm just like, this makes me feel a little uncomfortable. This is fucking weird.
Well, not only
It
is
is,
it,
it's super
weird
weird.
because her voice at first comforts him,
yeah,
and then he sees her and he's like, "Oh Jesus!" And it's both like she's clearly hot for him, and he's over here like, "My mom's hot."
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
he
there's-
says that.
Yeah, you're hot, hot,
Mhm.
hot, and it's like,
And in the second movie, when she gets a boob job and he wakes up again, all he can do is stare at her tits. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
I
he goes,
mean,
"You're big." He
I
says it
I
like
guess
that.
if like you were going from seeing your mom at 17 to didn't even really saw her in her new normal, which is the Oprah version of her, and then you see her with the big fake tits version of her, like I think yeah, but once I don't. They do put it to bed in the first one though a little,
Yeah.
where she kisses him and she's just like, it's like kissing my brother.
Vet says incest always funny.
Is it though? It's funny if it's not in your family.
Right, I was gonna say it's
That's
funny if
true.
it's not you.
As long
That's
as you don't
true.
have a couple cousins that are both have the same crossed eye.
Speaking of pitching shit and stuff,
It
Back to the
reminds me of
Future was
brothers from fucking Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I thought you were gonna say nothing
That
but
fucking
trouble.
family. What family is that?
The McPoyles.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
the
McDoyles.
Doyles?
The ones that drink
Yeah.
warm milk.
so this movie before it was made was pitched to it was rejected 44 times.
Jesus.
Columbia said that it was
Columbia's like, we don't want to see a kid fuck his mom.
What
They
is
said it
this
was too
Shakespeare fucking your mother shit?
Universal said that time travel movies don't make money, and Disney said it was too incestuous.
Okay,
Disney?
can we see
Disney
the
said it
flip?
was too incestuous.
Literally,
Of all people.
literally,
Disney.
Disney is being
Okay.
called groomers right now. So in
Oh,
1985,
God.
they were like, it's a little creepy. And now it's
Disney.
like, we need more Back to the Future. There's
I
some
have
marketing.
the original
Dude.
princess, Disney princess movies with penises all over the place, and you could spot them very clearly.
Yeah,
when you're talking
yeah.
about sexual problems.
Yeah, but that was
Another
just
thing-
like
another
angry
thing-
artists because Disney wasn't paying them enough. They're like, work me 12 hours, will you? Here's another dick.
Another reason why this movie took so long to be made, Zemeckis and Gale, they were friends with Spielberg, and they didn't want to, because he said, I'm going to have Amblin make the movie for you. They said, no, we want to go someplace else because you're our friend. We don't want to, have our movie made based on friendship. And they ended up making it anyways, because they pitched it everywhere. They tried to get it out to everybody, but Spielberg was a big backer of it. So that's a cool thing about it. Every time I see that
That's-
fucking
It's nice to have that Spielberg money.
yeah,
That's
That's
the
why-
power of love.
That's the power
and they also
of
coined
love.
that shit. They also paid for that shit for the three of the movies.
So one of the scenes that's always annoyed me is when he plays Go Johnny Go.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck off, Marty McFly. You white bread motherfucker. Get out of it. And then it's like, your kids are going to love it. Really?
Also-
You love it, Mr. fucking 17-year-old born in fucking 1968, you prick?
Also at the audition,
63.
The
63?
teacher's like, you guys are
Yeah.
denied from entering. You're too loud. It's like, have you never been
No.
to a fucking show
85.
that people use guitars?
Oh no, Marty was born in '68.
68, yeah.
Also, how old was Michael J. Fox actually in the first
Had to
film?
be in his 20s, right?
I don't
Because he
know.
looks like a goddamn grown adult.
Well, so the whole-
right?
Maybe
The-
late 20s.
The whole reason they did Eric Stoltz is because they didn't think they could get him because he was on that television show.
Yeah,
To
he
our
was on-
generation, that was funny. Sorry, Gers. But every time I heard it, I was like, I don't know about that. Like, I guess.
Oh, Marty was Michael J. Fox was born in '61, so he was only 7 years apart from.
Only he's a high school student. That makes him 24.
But it's still 7 years.
24 and
mid-
85,
mid-twenties.
by the way. So by 1990, he is 31 playing a 17-year-old.
Yeah, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
It is
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And well, the
Was-
4K doesn't help.
Was Stoltz like a big fucking deal back
He
then?
wasn't he in a lot of like the John Hughes type movies?
Yeah, he was in a couple of those John Hughes type movies.
I don't remember.
He was also in Mask, which I think that's what they were trying to get off of there with Cher. But you didn't really see him. You didn't really see him, and you didn't really see him.
Oh, yeah.
You saw the makeup and stuff.
You had to bring up that movie. That movie's gonna live in my head for free now.
Gers says he was so dreamy. Gers, what was he in that you liked so much?
Eric Stoltz. Oh God.
Because I can't think of a goddamn single movie he was in. To be honest with you, he was not one of my faves.
Oh my God, is Mass streaming anywhere?
Just look up on YouTube. I'm sure they've clipped it together. Everything. That's not fair. Give me some titles, Gers. I clearly don't fucking know.
He was in Pulp Fiction. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. He played the
Butterfly
robber.
Effect. Some kind of wonderful.
He was in Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
Ashton
Some kind
Kutcher?
of wonderful.
What did he play in that movie?
Yes, he wasn't with Ashton Kutcher. He was Mr. Miller. Whatever that is.
I forgot how fucking stupid this dude looked.
That's Marty McFly OG.
Oh,
He was in the Rules of Attraction.
Can you imagine him?
Oh, that's right. He
looking
was
like
in
the character
Anaconda.
Mask in Back to the Future.
Oh man, that would have been great.
No.
Horrifying, but great. Fuck the incest. Nobody's gonna fuck him. You gotta worry about that storyline.
Oh, your face
Oh, God.
is so lumpy.
So the fact that you're referencing Anaconda, though, Gers, as much as I like that movie, it's not what I would call a classique.
I was just about to say Anaconda.
I mean, and my favorite part of Anaconda is when what's-his-face gets swallowed by the snake.
Oh,
and then
he
it
was the
spits,
fly too.
It spits it up, and then
And
he
he
blinks.
opens up his
Yeah,
eye.
and it's fucking like, ah! He's still alive!
He was the fly too.
Oh, nobody likes to be the sequel guy.
No, and
Like,
was bad. That was bad.
Like, you go into it as enthusiastic as you can, but nobody wants to be like the replacement in a sequel.
And then everything before the fly too, he was all in TV shows.
General Hospital, no.
8 is Enough.
Jesus.
The Waltons.
He was in a
You're
great movie
trying
called
really
Haunt
hard
to
now.
Summer where he played Percy Shelley. No idea. Didn't he have sort of a resurgence in the 90s? Like with Pulp Fiction, I think he got a couple other roles. Was he in
Yeah,
Less
he
Than
was-
Zero?
He was the drug addict in Pulp Fiction, right?
Less Than Zero.
Yeah.
That was Robert Downey.
No, I know, but I
And,
thought maybe he was in that with him.
no, that was Robert Downey and Colorado. Your boy from what's it called? Spader.
James Spader. I love
Yeah.
Robert
You mean
California.
Robert
Robert
California.
California.
Colorado. What the fuck?
I've only.
Yeah,
watched
he's the
series
adrenaline
once.
guy. That's your fault now, isn't it? Besides, you can still remember details from one viewing and not butcher them for people who actually like the show. Hey, what about that Jason Colorado guy? James Spader played him.
He was in Jerry Maguire. Stoltz.
Are we listing off his whole filmography?
Yeah, I don't even know
And that's
anymore.
it. That's it. I'm not doing it anymore. Yeah.
He was in his mother's vagina.
Well, he was the original Marty, and basically, I think he was like kind of straight up fired. Like they were watching
Yeah.
the dailies, and they were just like, well, "This isn't working. Like this isn't what we're looking for."
Uma doesn't pass out. She overdoses.
ODs, yeah. I
I
mean,
come back to the chat. I'm like, nope, that's not what she
yeah, but
did.
you passed out due to an OD. I was a huge fan of the Romantics when I was college age, so the Haunted Summer movie was so beautiful. I'll have to look it up, but what is a romantic movie?
Gay.
I was gonna say you beat
Some
me
Kind
to
of
it.
Wonderful is the only movie that he was in that was decent.
Jen owns that movie. I am aware
Yeah.
of that movie. It's in my library. About romantic poets. Is it
Christopher
better than the
Lloyd
Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet?
Kind of looks
Double-
like the Crypt Keeper now.
Does he?
Oh shit! Yeah, he does. In the third one, he has those creepy eyes when he meets Clara. His eyes are like open. He's like,
I'm gonna wear your face as a mask.
Mary Shelley, Percy Shelley, Lord Byron. I don't know what they wrote. I know Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley.
I saw that fucking if you look up Christopher Lloyd, one of the things is what disease does Christopher Lloyd have?
It's called
Like,
age.
I clicked on a random forum
Yeah.
and the person who answers
I know
old.
Mary Shelley. I
That's
love
his
Frankenstein. I
disease.
don't know what Lord Byron wrote. I mean, I'm sure if you name something Lord Byron wrote and I have read it, I will know it. So by that name, I'm a Cormac McCarthy fan. What do you want from me?
What do you just love to be depressed?
I
when
like
you
Cormac
fucking wrote?
McCarthy, Bret Easton Ellis. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything of Lord Byron. I'm not a big poetry person. I only like to read the novelizations of movies. I'm reading The Road right now.
Lord Byron. Who is this Lord Byron?
So what is your guys' favorite moment from the entire trilogy? Super depressing. I'm already depressed enough. I don't think I should read any of it. I'm gonna
Who
watch
says they like
Teletubbies.
Lord Byron?
Gers does.
Is
Well-
Gers like 75?
They are older than we are, yes. You're very
Oh.
insensitive, you cunt.
Uh,
I love every scene where Doc Brown freaks out.
I think I like
And I'm
depressing
talking
stuff
where
because
he's
I'm
like-
depressed, Gers.
Yeah, it's
Where
an
he's
addiction.
like, he does the whole fucking, oh, oh. I love it.
My favorite
fucking
one,
love it.
my favorite one of those is when the RC the motorized car lights the rags, and he gives that like audible like. That's my
Yeah.
favorite because he's got the steampunk goggles on.
No, I love when Marty
Frankenstein is
tells
a great
him
book, by the
how
way.
many gigawatts is needed, and he fucking does his freak out and goes from heels to ass immediately. Like he just
How could I have
goes
been so
and keeps
careless?
the one for me is in number 3 when he's sitting there with that one shot and he's fucking doing it almost all night just talking.
Yeah.
And then he takes that one shot and he fucking falls right on the table and it
Maybe
fucking
I
breaks
should
in
read
half
some
and lands
Byron.
right on top of him. And all
I
he had
do
was
like
one
Frankenstein.
shot.
I mean, for me, the first movie has so many iconic scenes, but one of the scenes that made me laugh like
Besides
crazy
the
when I was-
incest,
besides the incest, the intro with the fucking speaker. For some reason, when I was super young, that
Yeah.
scene made me almost piss myself laughing every time.
Well,
I
it's still
fucking
really
watched
loud
it.
in the mix when it booms.
Yeah,
Finally,
that's funny you would say that because I was watching with my oldest daughter who's 16. When she saw that, she saw him crank it up and she saw him fly. Her eyes went, and she just started laughing. And she goes, "What happened?" And I was like, "What do you think?" You know. And she finally like started talking about it.
So my wife doesn't watch our live shows, and she didn't want me to repeat this, but I'm
She
going
doesn't
to because
love
it's
you.
funny.
oh no,
I'm sitting there watching the first one,
not about the
and
cakes, right?
she's sitting there next to me, and they're chasing
What
Marty,
kind of lamb you want?
and they get to the band, and they're like the band gets out of the car 'cause they're fucking with me.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
My wife is like,
What the
Why
fuck?
why did they call them that? And I was like, well, it's because
It's
they're black.
racism.
She's
Yeah.
like, well, aren't ghosts white? And I'm like, oh god.
What?
I'm like, I'm not gonna explain this to you. Like, they're not.
Oh, she thought it's like like the classic.
yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about that because there is a really fucked up scene in that context, as in an '85 movie, and I understand in historical context, it's probably the lesser of what they actually would have said.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
there's two things they say, and first off, it is "beat it, spook," and they're talking to the group of musicians who all happen to be black. And then the other thing is, whoa, I don't want no trouble with no reefer addicts. Which is the other one that I just find fucking hilarious. Like, reefer addicts. Like, this was in the era of, like, the reefer madness shit. It's fucking hilarious to me. Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan. Yes. He just steals fucking Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm pretty sure that maybe the nerds hated that. Like, how dare he? Do not cross the beams.
Well, they did ask for a lot of permissions to do certain things. Like one of them was number 3. They actually called Clint Eastwood and asked, "Can we use your name as as his?"
You have to call an ass to speak a name?
Well, no, they want to do it out of respect. To him.
Oh, okay.
They said they wanted to use his name in the movie and call him Clint Eastwood, and he said that he thought about it for like 2 seconds, and then he's like, "You know what? I'm actually honored." He's like, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah,
You go ahead and
Eastwood
make your
was-
stupid
Eastwood
little
was
kids'
young
movies.
back then. He was only like 75.
He's the ripe old age of 147.
Yeah, Eastwood is in his 90s, isn't he?
Yeah, and it isn't even his final form.
Okay,
Nope.
I have a question. I
Nope.
haven't
Still
looked
going.
it up. In part 2,
Yes.
Marty's daughter, was
Yes.
that
Him.
Marty?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, they disguised him really well.
Yeah,
and
that
they
was-
found
that
a
was
woman
Michael
who
J.
looks
Fox.
just like him.
Marlene McFly.
Marlene McFly.
Yeah, it was fucking horrifying, wasn't it?
It
You know,
was disturbing.
It's
And
uncanny
then her,
valley.
They did that in every movie where they come on. They said, "Mom, is that you?" They did that in every movie. Also, it was also Marty who gets knocked out in all three movies, wakes up and he's talking to his mom, and he says, Mom, is that you? And then she tells him what time or how long he's been knocked out for in all three movies. And I was looking at that, and I was reading like these things about it, and I was like, holy shit, that's right. As I was watching, going through it. So that was kind of cool. Like Leah Thompson fucking played that role 3 times with the same fucking lines.
She was hot.
He
Also,
was
the
good looking
second
back
movie
then, yeah.
had the shoe. We're not mentioning
The shoe, yeah,
Yeah.
that is the cast. So 2 cast replacements. It's Crispin Glover for whoever the fuck replaced him, and Leah
And
Thompson and
Jennifer.
Elizabeth Shue came in replacing the girl who played Jennifer, which I don't know her name, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's because she.
Did they say why they replaced her?
Because her mom was diagnosed with cancer and she retired from acting to take
I
care of her
was-
mother.
I was
Selfish
gonna make a
bitch.
joke, and I am glad I did not.
Me too.
But she
Um,
did come back for the reunion, and she did go with Elizabeth Shue, and they both played off the roles throughout the entire thing for a reunion.
I was gonna make another joke, and I'm not.
That she should have been barred from the reunion.
No, I was gonna say, did her mom show up to the reunion with?
Oof. In spirit.
All in good fun.
Those are the 2 biggest cast changes. So if you're watching the second one, you're like, what? No fucking Billy Zane? Because in the second one's in the future, and you have the dude who is in the movie Soldier. So did you guys recognize the one guy in the background is the same guy? Is the same guy that's the new prototype soldier in Soldier that's all jacked and
Really?
bald? Yeah, he's the he's actually in the intro. Alex is refaced as him. He's the Asian dude, like in the 2015
Okay,
Griff.
okay, yeah.
He's like the guy in the basically the Billy Zane of the group.
He's the
and
one
then-
that called him the Bojo.
Yeah,
Hey, Bojo.
and then
Yeah.
you
Was
get
that a Zemeckis film too? No.
no, but the interesting thing about Soldier is it's actually in the same universe as Blade Runner.
Really?
The planet, the trash planet that he gets dumped on, is a known planet in the Blade Runner universe.
Oh,
I think it was originally written to be like a quasi sequel or whatever, and the studios are like, nah, fuck that. I love the idea of getting his dad to stand up to Biff. Like crazy idea that he's responsible for his own birth. Kinda. I mean, as soon as he
Yeah.
fucks with the timeline by pushing him out of the way of the car, yeah, he essentially becomes a driving force for his own creation, for his entire family's creation.
Yeah.
Well, there are
Yeah,
certain
and-
points in the movie where because it jumps back and forth, where you realize certain actions that Marty has performed in the past has resulted.
Yeah, it's a paradox.
Yeah,
I was like,
if
what
he
the
never would have
fuck?
gone back there never would have been an issue. And I mean, especially it starts it off with him. Basically, his dad's a pervert, and
Yeah.
he's on the tree peeping
Keeping
Tommy.
fucking Tom.
And what happened initially was his dad falls out of the tree. Grandpa hits him with the car. They meet, asks her to dance. They fall in love, and basically Marty McFly fucks that up when he pushes him out of the way like a dipshit.
Well,
Yeah,
he,
and it's
he actually improves the family in the long run though, because his mom clearly was fucking depressed that she was in love with this fucking guy.
The whole,
for-
well, I mean, okay, so that is where there may be some credence to Crispin Glover's complaint, right? Because like they are lower middle class in the present. His older brother seemingly works at fast food. The sister seemingly doesn't have the job. The mother seemingly is depressed. The father works some job where he's overrun by Biff. The house is small. And then alternate, the new present, nice bigger, the house is nicer inside, it's redesigned. Parents are in great shape, they're youthful, they're spry.
Yeah.
The brother's wearing a suit and jacket to fucking work. The
to the
sisters,
office.
to the office. The sister's shooing off boyfriend. She can't get the messages. He's got that big old black pickup truck that they alluded to earlier. So there is merit in saying that. I mean, essentially, hey, go fuck with your timeline, to. But then they try that, and I think maybe a big part of why the second one's into most of the story, or at least a big chunk of it, revolves around that gambling thing. I wonder if that's got anything to kind of like justify it. Like, no, money isn't the way to the happiness. You know what I mean? Like maybe somebody somewhere thought about it. I was like, he was kind of fucking right, wasn't he?
well, it's also too without the paradox in the first film, how fucking sad the father's life is, like how much of
Yeah.
a loser he is.
Yeah.
Even to the point where when Marty sees him react with Biff, like he almost has this visceral reaction of like, my dad's a loser. Like my
Yeah.
dad doesn't stand up for
Well,
himself.
even at the end of the first one, when he eventually does stand up to him, he has a moment where Biff comes out and he freezes. And Biff grabs him and he contorts him. and only when you hear her hit the ground and kind of make that, ugh, does he kind of like, he hurt her and he gets that courage.
He gets the courage to do it.
But you gotta wonder, like, they don't go into his old man's family at all.
No.
Like, what kind of fucking weird life did he have? Like, what were his parents like? Like, which is
Well,
a
he was
weird thing.
fucking
Like,
peeping Tom, fucking, you know.
well, yeah, but the fact that they at least show Lorraine's family,
Yeah.
his grandmother is seemingly a nice lady. The grandfather seems like your typical fucking
Well,
50s dad.
By the third movie they do with Seamus McFly.
I think in reality,
Yeah, that would have to be great grandparents though, because there's the 1885. No way. We're talking the actual grandparents. He was a baby.
That's the baby. Yeah, that's the baby. That's the great grandfather.
That's not going into the family. I mean, they do explore the elders, but
it does give a little bit.
Your mic cut out, Broseph.
Uh-oh.
I think you're live now.
No, I hit the space bar. My fault.
I thought Matt was like, "You're done."
No, but
You're
it does go into a little bit of the McFly side of the family.
When you meet the Irish McFlys, I like how the photo
the
photo they show in the second one, like Marty McFly is all gangster looking, and then you meet him. He's just a nice fella. He's a nice chap. Gives him some food, some comfort. I love the third one. I think the Wild West motif works. It starts off when he first gets in there pretty rough. First off, there's the natives being chased by the cavalry. Then he gets into town and he's strung up by fucking Mad Dog, dragged to the clock tower which is being built, hung.
He actually passed out from that.
Yeah, because it was really choking him.
And they had to give him a couple days off from that. Yeah.
And he gets hung. Out. And then badass fucking Doc Brown comes out with his fucking sniper rifle and shoots the rope and tells him that he could shoot the wings off a gnat. I mean, how much cooler do you get? By the way, the whole premise of the third one, I know we didn't talk about it if you haven't seen it, is basically at the end of the second movie, everything's okay, everything's right. There's the storms coming in. They're back in 1955. Lightning hits Doc Brown, sends him into the past, the year of 1885. Marty, he writes Marty a note and tells him explicitly, "Don't come for me." Marty then sees his gravestone, which says that he gets killed 7 days after the letter is received. So he makes the decision to go back in time to save Doc Brown. And when they meet up, Marty is in the process of being hung by Mad Dog. And the whole reason Doc Brown is murdered, that stage is set right in that scene, because Mad Dog and Doc Brown have that discussion about that horse threw me, and he's like, "I'll reshoe him," and he's like, "I already shot that damn horse." I always found that to be a funny line.
It was $5 for the horseshoe and $75 for the horse.
Which I always found to be a funny fucking line. Yeah, "I already shot that horse." Fucking you stupid. He's stupid. Biff is stupid in all three fucking movies. Like, his ancestors fucking stupid.
The Tannen family's fucking dumb.
Him as an older guy is fucking stupid. Him as a younger guy is fucking stupid. Like,
But the absolute stupidest fucking version of him is in 2015, the future version,
which is basically evil Donald Trump.
Yeah, he can't fucking form a sentence through most of his shit.
He must. I wonder if they gave him like implants or something.
Because he's fucking Robo.
Because there is. Well, then he's Griff. I do like that scene where he pulls out in the second where he pulls out his hoverboard, and it's like it reminded me a lot.
Growling.
Okay, so can one of you guys please look up when Suburban Commando came out?
Suburban Commando.
Because either Suburban Commando ripped off Hulk Hogan's skateboard idea from Back to the Future, or vice versa. Suburban Commando for sure came
91.
out. Okay,
Wow,
so
okay.
Suburban Commando stole the hoverboard design for Hulk Hogan's skateboard in that movie.
Okay.
If you pay attention, they look strikingly similar. But I always like that scene where he pulls it out of like the death case.
I love when the little girl gets it. She's like, "No, go ahead, keep the one you like. Keep that hoverboard."
I got a beast one.
Yeah, I've got a fucking bulldog or something.
Yeah, it was
Christopher
Pitbull.
Lloyd is in Suburban Commando.
Yes. Also, I mean, talk about looking wildly different.
Yeah.
Between the movies. So that means he went and finished the Back to the Future trilogy and went into Suburban Commando. What a depressing state.
And then he got younger, and then he got older again.
Who was that?
Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, okay.
I do appreciate seeing like the clock tower being built.
Mhm.
That's a really cool kind of like, because after watching the first two, It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, everything about the third one is all kind of nostalgia that you didn't know was there. Because it's like, that's what this was. Oh, and that's who that is. And ZZ Top? And then there's that guy. And it's really cool to see that.
One of the fun things I read about when I was looking up part 3, when they were doing that scene for ZZ Top performing, one of the cameras broke down, so they had to repair the camera. And as they were repairing the camera, Michael J. Fox walked up and said, "Hey, can you perform this song?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." So they started playing the song. Then somebody else asked if they could play another song. So after like a couple hours of them playing music, like it became a party. They were like, "Hey, wait, what are the cameras ready?" Zemeckis was like, "Well, yeah, the cameras have been done for a while. Just everybody was having so much fun. We weren't going to mess with you guys." So they were actually having fun on set.
It must have been a great working environment. I mean, like,
Yeah,
No.
it must have been an awesome fucking movie series to be part of. Like, every part of it.
They still have the set, like parts of the set if Universal still has it.
Well, yeah, Hill Valley
that's
is
what
part of
Matt
the
was asking about
tour.
the Western.
Like, it's not built up as it's not like they don't have all the pieces to it, but the base of the set is part of the Universal, I think, tour when you go on it. It's actually, that set has been used for a lot of different shit. They just build it out differently. But the base set of the road and the movie theater over here and all of that is a part of the tour.
Well, in Universal Studios, they do have the train and the DeLorean right next to the Simpsons.
That's pretty cool.
When you go there,
Two awesome things.
which also ties into the guy who plays Homer did the voice for, I think, Doc Brown in the animated series.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, see, because I remember when we were younger, it being on the news that part of the set had caught on fire.
There's been a lot of movies that's happened too.
The courthouse square,
Different
that part of
number.
the set
Oh, okay.
almost burnt down. Yeah.
Well, even like where the fountain and shit was by the high school is all like on the part of the Universal tour. It's just not all the pieces are in it. Like, it's not built out to be the actual set, but the basin with like the roads and everything are all still, they've got them put up, which is kind of really fucking cool.
That's nice.
Um,
Now, was it built there on Universal Studios?
yeah, that was all a set. Yeah, all a lot. I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
I
And
don't
they
know
turned
how
it into a
much.
fucking-
Like Hill Valley was a set. I don't know. I mean, you have to imagine all of it is set at this point. Like, I don't know. I mean, besides the mall in the first one.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
back then when they built sets. Now it's just
Yeah,
throw a
CG.
green screen behind
Oh,
the
don't worry. We
bitch
got
and-
plenty of blue and green cloth. We'll be fine. We can do whatever we fucking want. What's that? Tony Stark's head looks like it's floating. No fucking problem. We're only a $1 billion company. Billions.
the
I like
crazy
that. That would be
thing-
fun to have Tony Hawk as Iron Man.
The
You
crazy
hear about
thing
him?
is,
He fucked up his leg recently.
did he?
I
What
heard
did he
about
do?
Yeah, he was doing either just skating or performing or something. I think he had like a compound fractures. Basically,
Not
the
fucking
type,
young anymore.
yeah, the type of thing you don't want to get in the 50s. Gers, thank you for joining us. You have yourself a wonderful evening.
See you, girls.
Good night. Or
Enjoy the scotch that you got earlier.
Yes, you had to bring in yourself because your Instacart person sucks.
You had to unload. Yeah, you had to unload the Instacart.
But the basic premise of number 3 is, and one of the things that's great about this trilogy is they all tie into each other. So it's like you have the
Really well,
first one
too.
that lays all of the groundwork, and then the second one lays a little bit more groundwork. Then you get those nods to the Western. Then you get things like Marty McFly is a shithead basically in the future because of some sort of car accident where he hit a Rolls Royce. The grandmother,
damaged his hand. and couldn't play guitar no more.
Lorraine talks about it a little bit. They show him trying to play, and they show his girlfriend kind of like, "What the fuck? Why is he so shitty?"
Which is,
Shit.
it's also because Bob Gale wrote this as like a full, like from the first to third, as a full story to its completion, which nowadays it's like, oh no, the first movie made a shit ton of money, let's write
Let's
a
cash
sequel
in,
and
yeah.
shoehorn it in.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well-
this one, they were like, no, we want a story to tell
Well,
in the
I
first,
mean,
second, third.
You are talking about the same group of guys that you got like Lucas. He literally started with episode 4, so he had lore for at least 3 before, or at least 3 before that. So I mean, that was kind of the era of that sort of thing.
But
Yeah.
but they shot the first movie and they had no intentions of making sequels after this.
It was one of those ones where like, we'll do this one, we'll see what happens.
They did the ending as a joke but it was actually an open ending that actually worked
Yeah.
to progress.
And then they had to
into
refilm it for number 2 because
into number 2 and 3.
they had to recast with the much better Elizabeth. Tell me Elizabeth Shue's not great. By the way, I got Hamlet 2 on iTunes. If anyone wants to watch it, it's fucking great. You guys ever seen it? Dude, Steve Coogan.
I think I have. Yeah.
Where he decides to put on, he's going to put on one final play to raise money for the arts department that's being canceled. Hamlet 2. It's partially a musical with such tracks as Rock Me Sexy Jesus. Also, so many Easter eggs in the movies, it makes it fun to go back and find them. Not only that, but like even the scenes like where they show Biff's rise to power. And he's got the fucking almanac and all of them. That whole scene, I mean, that really is where the movie, I think, gets to its darkest point, though. Where Marty basically confronts him and he admits to killing his father and he's going to kill him. And it's the whole...
2 McFlys with 1 gun.
Yeah, the whole Rich Biff thing really cements him as the movie's villain.
Yeah.
Like, and then you, like... They do give him a little bit of backstory in number 3 where he's living with his grandma and he's clearly not happy and, you know, he's kind of in a shithole of a life, so that's partially why he's so angry and he's such a piece of shit. But they never make excuses. Like, they
That's
show...
still number 2, yeah, but
they show... I thought that's what I said.
You said 3. Yeah.
Oh, doesn't matter. You got to correct me live.
It's technically all
You got to
one
fucking
movie.
interrupt me to say
Like
that.
the ocean,
Yes.
it's
But I'm going to
it's
interrupt
just
me
one.
to chastise you for doing such. What was I even saying? I'm going to pull an Alex. You said something. You fucked up my thought.
his grandma.
Yes.
Biff's life.
So they show him not having like the best of circumstances, and then he takes the kid's balls. The kid's ball and like whips it onto the deck, and it's
What a
like,
dick, yeah.
why are you such a cunt, dude? Like they're just kids. And that's what I find, like, they never give Biff kind of any angle of, like, he's not that bad. Because then he's basically sexually assaulting her on the streets.
Well, his grandma wasn't
That's
that bad.
the other
She
one.
just wanted attention, and he was a dick.
Yeah.
Well, like, but then, like I said, they have that scene in number 2 where he grabs you, when are you going to learn you're my girl? And it's like,
Yeah.
the fuck? And she's over there throwing, like, 1950s shit. Notice the nod to Wizard... What was the nod to Wizard of Oz?
I think that was Doc's. No, was it the Doc with his clothes or something like that?
I don't
The
know.
Scarecrow. Where was the Scarecrow?
Back to
Oh,
the
when he
Future
runs it
Easter
over?
eggs.
Was it painted up to look like the Scarecrow? I didn't even pay attention in the first one. My pines. It's literally, and there's even things in the first one like it's the Two Pines Mall, and then when he comes back, it's the One Pine Mall because he ran one of them over. Then his dad literally.
The manure company is a different name each time. There was A manure and D manure.
Why is there so much manure in that town?
I know.
Like 24/7, there's manure shipments coming.
Every time my wife was watching it, she only saw fucking Biff running into the manure, and she goes, "Ugh!" And then when she saw it happen again, she goes, "Again?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, and then when she saw the third one, I was like, "That's the only time you've been watching the fucking movie."
So I remember as a kid watching these movies on basic TV with the edits. And I remember for certain movies like this, Willy Wonka, I specifically remember the commercial cuts. And I always remember in the first one when he hits the manure truck and it was always, I'm going to kill that son of a... And then it was like commercial because they bleeped out bitch. Like, I will forever always remember that. I don't know why. That and the Willy Wonka where he bites the cup and it went to commercial.
I did look up a couple Easter eggs. So apparently the guy yelling the music too loud is Huey Lewis himself.
Wait, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I did not.
You are a bum.
Yeah, that's Huey Lewis.
Did not.
I didn't say that because I figured we all knew it.
No.
Well, get in on it, Lewis. Now you know.
There's a bunch of
Fire off some more
Easter eggs. Let's see.
Audience, you got any Easter eggs that you know of? Vets chiming in. Everybody else, feel free to chime in.
There was one where they called instead of calling him Calvin Klein, they called him Levi in different countries. So like Italy, Brazil, because they didn't Levi
change the
Calvin
name.
Klein. Calvin Klein wasn't a big thing outside of the U.S. So they called him by
Damn
whatever it was.
international manipulation of Americana.
Also with the Pepsi and Tab, they only called it Coca-Cola in other countries because that wasn't popular in.
Doesn't seem like they're giving their people much of a choice. Lewis,
A lot of these Easter eggs are kind of just like weird shit.
I am now depressed because of you.
Like Twin Pines, Lone Pines Mall. Now these are all boring.
Yeah,
Great.
Oh, what? When Doc Brown gets shot, no blood comes out. That's something I noticed.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it's
at the beginning,
it was rated. What was this rated? PG or PG?
PG. All of them were PG.
Yeah, so
They got a bunch of swears in here.
Yeah,
Well, I
they
guess
cuss
those
a lot.
ain't-
You got to
It was also
remember,
the 80s.
Indiana Jones is the first movie to make PG-13, so it really depends on that scale. Was still, I mean, Spaceballs has the word "fuck" in it. It's PG.
One of the things to notice is in the first Back to the Future, all the newspaper clippings. It says the Doc Brown mansion's been caught or was burnt to the ground, and one of the things is it's part of the comics where it was actually they say maybe Doc Brown burned it down to get the insurance money to fund his flux capacitor.
Well, that was the other thing is
idea.
Jen actually, when we were watching the third one, asked me like, "What happened to all this?" And I was like, "Well, they only give you nods in the newspaper clippings, and when he tells Marty that he's so many years and basically his entire family's fortune." I was like, "That's
Yeah.
really the only backstory they get into, like how he goes from like that beautiful home to just having the guest house or / garage."
And it was two, right, when they actually show the mansion.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? Is his garage work area is the building he lives in.
Yeah.
So the mansion burned down, and he basically must have sold all of that property.
Yeah, and then they built up around it.
Yeah, it's very much he's kind of like the original OG from Up.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's
Yeah.
a good analogy.
like he's over there. Like, how do you go from a fucking mansion to like just your little work area garage is where you now live?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't show any different at all. Like they don't even give the Doc like a. I mean, by the end of the trilogy, he's still in the Old West, which
Man,
good for
crazy-
him.
Crazy thing is Elijah Wood as a little kid in number 2.
As the
looks
arcade
like-
kid, yeah.
He literally looks like Elijah Wood now.
Mhm.
I swear.
It's just like
He
they
just
stretched the
doesn't
human a little.
look- Yeah.
It's creepy. He's always looked like an alien. Let's be fucking real.
And somebody shined his eyes up a little more.
He was
Like his last year.
maybe I mean, who else would you have in that era could you think would have done Frodo as good as he did? I mean, you're talking what? When was the first movie filmed? 2000 what? Early 2000s?
for the
Yeah.
Hobbitses, or for the Lord of the Rings.
Like I mean, it was either him or like Tobey Maguire basically at that point. And Tobey Maguire was already in Spider-Man
My
movies.
back.
but he's not that short. He's not that short though.
Ooh.
Maguire, because he's a
not,
lot taller.
He's
than,
not 6 foot.
I know, but he's a lot taller than fucking.
Maybe by a few inches. I mean, if Elijah Wood's 5'6", you're not. I mean, Tobey Maguire's not 6'2".
Okay, well, I guess Maguire looks a lot taller because he's lanky.
He does have a
He's more-
lankier. But also, I
Yeah.
mean, the fucking hobbits in that movie were always like this.
Yeah.
Like, and the way they filmed it, there was
'Cause they
movie
use
magic.
midgets.
They always had him hunched over. Like, don't stand straight, you idiots. You're supposed to be 4'2". Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest takeaways I think anybody should have of this entire trilogy is like people shit on that third one, and it's really a great fucking movie. There's a lot of great scenes. There's a lot of funny scenes. There's a lot of
Yeah,
great
it's-
dialogue.
All 3 movies are consistently fun. Like
Yeah.
none of them really like stop being fun. It just carries through all of them.
Yeah, and it's just one of those. In my opinion, it's the best time travel series, only because every little thing connects back to something else. Like to me, like and one of the maybe that's one of the problems of the movies too, because there is a lot of that like, oh, I broke the gas line in number 3. Like it's a throwaway, like, oh, I broke the gas line. Oh no. Nobody's thinking, what about the gas? Until Doc Brown says, like, what about the gas? Like, there's no gasoline here. And that it's just shit like that that's
Because
and then
Marty assumed that it ran on plutonium.
yeah, and then the whole other thing was like it probably wouldn't need gas if the thrusters were working, but those are broken. Like they figured out every sort of angled reason to still have issues, despite it being a relatively uncomplicated thing for them to be doing. Which
Just
is-
like when they're in 1955, they ended up using all those boob tubes and shit to fucking
To rebuild it. And I do like how
on the hood of the car.
also, by the way, Doc Brown, nobody talks about this, rewrote the schematics and everything from memory.
Yeah.
Drew up that entire schematic map and told them all parts and everything from fucking memory. Like, say what you want. He may be a kook, but the motherfucker was smart. Like, I mean, besides inventing time travel, like there are certain things he does in this.
He was fucked up socially. I think that's what it was.
Well, he talks about loving Lovecraft and how, you know, he was this age when he first met 20 Leagues Under the Sea, and that's what drove him into the passion of the science.
I think there's more darkness to Doc Brown that you can find in just going back to the first movie and knowing that he was in contact with the Libyans to build them a weapon. It's like, what other shady shit have you done?
All right,
And instead of building a weapon, he just took their plutonium. He was like, I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to build a weapon.
Here we go. We get a movie about Doc Brown during his time in World War II.
Jesus.
He comes across Nazi occult science.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Is exposed to
it. I got something on
and then since then, he had started, that's why he's doing the mind reading. Shit like that. I think we've got a movie, gentlemen. But you seriously, it's got to be like Saving Private Ryan meets Back to the Future. Like hard fuck. Like he's killing 5 Nazis at a time single-handedly. Make him a fucking badass.
In writing of the early drafts of number 2, Marty goes back to 1967 instead of you know where he went, and he was actually called a draft dodger, and they arrested him. That was in the early drafts.
Wait, how long did Vietnam go for? When did it? 68 is when it officially ended, or I thought that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really? Is it 68?
What? No, I don't know. Let's see.
When did Nam actually end, though? Because that only makes sense. When did Nam end?
Go for it.
75. So yeah.
So he was arrested
been.
as a draft dodger in the early drafts.
That's dark.
But they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to do that. So
that kind of isn't so happy. Like there's something nice about 55. It's bubblegum music and it's clean, and then there's like he's got the 1,000-yard stare.
One of the
Biff is just a Vietnam vet who still collects ears.
One of the other earlier things I read about was instead of making the time travel vehicle a car, it was supposed to be a room. And when he traveled to another area, it actually became a refrigerator. So in 1955, it was supposed to be a refrigerator, but Zemeckis and Gale were like, no, we don't want kids going into the fucking refrigerator and killing themselves. So they changed it around and turned it into a car. So it was something they can actually move around to different place and place.
Plus, the DeLorean's such a janky, odd car that it just was perfect.
They were basically just like, we need wings. We need wing doors.
If you want to learn more about the DeLorean, there's a Netflix documentary on it.
Yeah.
Also a Netflix documentary on these movies called Back in Time.
How the fuck did Doc Brown get in the fucking car or out of the car when it was inside the truck? The doors open out. The truck was it was only this much room between the doors.
Maybe one of those trucks with the automatic system. They press
also, did Doc Brown use the remote? No.
The DeLorean's design and it being stainless steel, the car looks futuristic. Jumping back to Halo, there's a bunch of future tech, and every time you see a car, it's a Chevy Suburban.
Really? Oof.
That's all they had for their budget.
Yeah.
I also saw clips of like some of the props just being unfinished.
It's gonna fuck up the warranty.
Yeah. And it's crazy. I mean, I'm gonna connect it again, but you have a movie that comes out in 1985 with $9 million more per a Halo episode, and it's built sets and everything.
But Halo episodes are $31 million?
No. They're roughly 10 million, but the first Back to the Future movie was 19 mil. And Back to the Future had no CGI and the sets look clean.
Well, the CGI that is a little rough, especially when you watch it on 4K now, but still, I'm gonna say it doesn't look any worse than fucking Halo.
Look, Back to the Future was also
good though.
It's nice and clean. There's not much film grain at all in it.
Back to the Future was also the first movie to actually incorporate multi-people in it. So like Michael J. Fox playing Michael J. Fox, they were the first people to actually do it. And I think they went up to 3 pans where there was 3 different Michael J. Foxes in one shot.
Well, yeah, because you had 1985 Michael J, 2015 Michael J, then you had Michael J as the daughter.
Mm-hmm. Which is, man, if you look up just
it's
stills,
nightmare fuel. Yeah.
The only
just
time,
the way his mannerisms as the daughter was super creepy.
It's like he had been like hoping this whole time he could play a woman.
Mom,
do it so good.
He was like doing this shit.
This is the real me.
There was
Michelle
only
J. Fox.
There was only one spot during this whole thing of the split screen where it kind of got weird was when Biff was talking to Biff in the garage and he hands him the almanac.
Yeah.
Old Biff is handing the almanac this way. Young Biff is getting the almanac this way. That's the only spot where it gets janky.
There is one more, and it's in the second one where Doc Brown meets Doc Brown. And he's like, "Don't you mean the quarter inch?"
Yeah.
And he hands it to him behind the pole, and it's clearly just some random dumb fucking hand giving it to him. It's almost like a Three Stooges sketch. It's a little bit janky there, but yeah, there's not much of that.
There was also something else I saw when Michael J. Fox is looking up Doc Brown at the cafe, and he's looking at it, and there's like an old ass hand with fucking like spots all over his hand, and he's looking up Doc Brown.
Michael J. Fox's hand, man. That was Eric Stoltz. That's why they fired his ass. Your hands are gross, you fuck. You spotchy fuck.
You are
Get
not
outta
a
here,
hand
man.
model.
All right. At what point do you guys want to wrap up and actually give it scores? Which I think I know what all of our scores are going to be. Now, are we reviewing them singularly, or are we just doing trilogy review?
For
Trilogy.
me personally, I they're all together for me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it would have to be a trilogy.
It's
It
a
just makes
trilogy.
sense.
Let's go with Alex first.
I'm gonna go with 5. I love all these movies. My all-time favorite is number 3. Number 1 starts it off, and it introduces you to this whole fucking world of time travel.
The Terminator
number 2
created it.
Yeah. Number two, it had its little weird things and made the Tanner family even dumber.
The
which is
DJ
kinda cool.
Tanner family, Full House.
No, I'm sorry, Tannen.
Tannen,
Sorry,
yeah, Tannen.
Tannen.
Biff
I always say
Tannen.
Tanner because
You just love Full House so much.
Yeah, I've only seen it once.
The whole show, or just like one
Yeah,
episode?
I've only watched it once.
Yeah, I've
I've only
a
watched
whole.
the first episode.
I watched it when it was on when I was a kid.
But number 3 is my all-time favorite. This is a 5 for me. Everybody's fun. Crispin Glover, he was intricate to the first movie. The second one, not so much. So him not being in it and not being the real person, it was okay with me. Them changing the Jennifer character was okay too because you really didn't pay
Because
attention.
the shoe
after
is
4 years.
better.
Well, after 4 years, did you really remember? Nobody did.
Everybody did. It's
No,
literally an
not-
Easter
not-
egg.
Yeah, I guess you call it Easter egg. But as it went on, it just got better and better for me.
Well, I think
So
at
5.
this point, Elizabeth Shue in in '90 was probably would have been. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell how popular the original girl would have been from Back to the Future had she not quit acting. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. But
Also-
how much was the character in there? It wasn't a lot. So
Well, see, that's the whole thing, though. If they wouldn't have had to recast, would there have been more? Like, there's those behind the scenes of like the potentials, but there's not, not confirmed. But I mean, there is a tone to this. Like Marty McFly, essentially, the first story is about his parents, and he's just the driving force. The
Right.
second story, it does open up because it's not just about, like, it is about his family, but it's still about him and kind of the shithole life he's in, even in 2015. But it's also about Biff and his family as well. I mean, you literally get old Biff, who's kind of seemingly a little bit kind of like just done with life, and he's watching Griff fucking tank it and get hurt, and he's like, I know this, something's familiar about, and then he goes back to the 50s and he relives his days there. I feel like old Biff is the nicest Biff, like old original 19, like that Biff from 2015. Yeah, like he's still a dick, but he's at least like, I don't know, he seems somewhat better. But yeah, other than that, Biff is just a fucking piece of garbage throughout.
the final version of him is still a fucking asshole. Not an asshole. He's
A grifter.
he realizes that he fucked up, and he's like subservient to George.
Yeah,
Which is how
seems
it
like
should
that was
be.
always his fate. Like,
Yeah. I mean, well, you gotta
Because
wonder
he
too,
was
like,
the bully. He was the bully the whole time, and the one guy that got the best of him.
yeah, he was almost like an unchecked bully in the original 1985, where it was like, Marty had to come home and watch his father be emasculated by this asshole nightly, even after he
Yeah.
crashes the car while drinking and driving.
He spilled beer.
Yeah.
On,
What a cunt.
with the blind spot.
How many hot dogs, sir?
It's 5.
Yeah,
It's
why
5.
not? Why not even ask? Giovanni?
This is an easy 5 for me. Second one is my favorite throughout
Your
them.
Doc Brown impression.
Yeah, I do love the second one the best, but like,
Run for it, Marty!
there's no bad
I'm gonna
movie
break my
here.
camera.
The third one is really good. I think the fact that, like I said, Matt said, we talked about this in a text message. I think the third one, because it went Western, and you kind of have to like that gritty Western feel.
I also feel like
'cause-
it's the hip thing to do, or at least has been for a long time. Like, yeah, the third one's shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
The
just
Godfather
That's
had
true.
that,
given
you know,
that
and
people
like,
say.
in a lot of cases, it's true. There's some trilogies where it's not true, but like, that becomes like, yeah, third one's ever since The Godfather, the third one's garbage. And I don't agree on this. I think this entire trilogy is amazing.
Yeah, they're all good, and I did like the third one. Like I said, 2 is my favorite.
I think 2
but
is my favorite as well.
It's a good old time. Every one of these, and when you watch one, you have to watch them all. Like, it's just really good.
Can't eat just one.
And it's funny. You can actually start with the second one, and if you really won't be lost. You can go back to the first one and kind of understand it.
They do revisit like a lot of the
Yeah,
first. Like, you
you
wouldn't
could-
know.
you could
You wouldn't know what
technically
the but you wouldn't know what the fuck was going on with him beating up Biff.
You can
You know, like,
technically
there'd be
do
those
2,
things.
1, 3.
Yeah, you technically could. I had the
Whoa,
wonderful pleasure.
hold on. Explain to me how you can do 2, 1, 3 if the second movie relies upon the first movie's things that take place.
Because the second one explains a lot of what happens in the first.
I'm going to disagree
Yeah,
with
so
both of you on
it'd
that.
just be like foreshadowing, and then you can redo the first one.
Yeah, but then you ruin the first movie because like all of the notable scenes, since they are redone in the second one, it's kind of like, why the fuck would I even watch the first one?
Not true. The first movie stands alone on its own really well.
Then the second one doesn't do
Man,
enough
it
to skip
sounds
it
like
and put it in
you
different
don't
order.
like to go Back to the Future.
I love going Back to the
That's
Future.
okay.
I just don't like fucking up the order for no goddamn reason. You cannot have number 2 without number 1.
How would you watch Star Wars?
What do you mean? Like, if
Like,
I were to
if
watch
you
them
had-
now, I'd start with episode
Yeah.
1.
So the way I watch Star Wars is I watch 4, 5, and 6 and nothing else.
Dude, no, enough. It's time, now that the shitty fucking Abrams trilogy is released, it's time to recognize the prequels as what they were, the best action Star Wars movies we've ever gotten.
They were extremely.
If you want to watch
action-based.
Star Wars action, you gotta go episode 2 and 3. Otherwise, the new trilogy's not giving lightsaber battles. The original trilogy gave a couple. If you want actual Jedi action, you can only watch the prequels to get it.
But the problem is the catch is you get Jar Jar.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what
I
about
can't
Jar Jar?
stand
He's
Jar
literally
Jar.
just in the first movie in any
If
sort of
Jar
real
Jar
role.
was a Sith Lord,
That'd
that would be amazing.
like he's over there fighting Qui-Gon Jinn with Darth Maul. Misa,
Just
fuck
like,
you up.
Just a Sith Lord in disguise. Like that's
There
what
is that
Jar Jar
theory,
is.
I
That would
believe, too.
Yeah, that would be so incredible. But I digress. I got to
Jar
watch
Jar.
all 3 of these movies in theater in a special.
Ooh, you
So-
lucky
Oh,
bitch.
was it
Yeah,
like all
it was
back to
the-
back?
Yep, it was back
They
to
give you
back.
piss breaks, or they just feed
It
you
was
like horses?
yeah. You get a 15-minute break in between each. But it was a good old time. Like I
That would have
loved
been
it.
cool. Lord of the Rings would have been hard to do. This I could have done.
Well, I did.
The extended cuts of Lord of the
I
Rings.
did
oh my
4
God.
hours
8
of
Marvel
fucking
movies
movie.
in theaters back to back.
8?
Sorry.
8.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I did 8 of them. I slept through 2 of them. You always sleep through the Hulk and Thor 2.
Why did you
dark.
even
You always
go
sleep through those
then?
2, so you get 2 sleep breaks.
Why go if you're planning? Like, literally, why would you go if you're already planning when to sleep?
It's the nerd equivalent of climbing Mount Everest, trying to get through all those movies.
Thor 2 is its. Although, you know what? I gotta be honest, I didn't love Thor 1. I thought the movie was fucking boring.
Thor 1 was okay.
It's got like that weird, like, solemn desert motif at the end, and then you have this desert landscape with this giant CG metal fucking thing. I don't know, man. The first Thor,
Destroyer.
the first 2, like Thor Ragnarok is a great movie, but I don't know. The first one's okay, and the second one is just like, ugh. I will say
Yeah,
the
the second
second
one's
one before Ragnarok had better action than the first one, though. Like the
That
action
is
scenes
true.
itself
That is
are
true.
better in number 2, despite how fucking stupid the storyline is. All right, guys, Lewis.
And then you have Morbius, which is selling out tickets. Don't forget
Oh,
that.
God.
Selling out tickets.
I'm telling you,
are
okay,
getting
here's-
through.
Selling out tickets where?
Here's my impression of studio
I
execs.
love Morbius, and I hate that. I hate.
This is the end of Morbius. Scrub everything that connects it to the universe. And scene. That's them right after they screen the final cut of the movie. They're like, no, you're not done. You got more work to do. Chop this fucking bitch up. And I guarantee you that's what happened. They watched it and they were like, no, remove everything. The tone doesn't work. It doesn't tie into the story. Jared Leto's a bum. They were like, fuck and I'm telling you, it's failing not only because it's bad, Marvel left it out to dry. They sacrificed Morbius because they watched it and they're like, this thing's a piece of shit. It needs to fail so we can just disregard it.
Get rid of Jared Leto.
Just get rid of. I mean, Jared Leto seemingly just poisons fucking.
Let him stay
comic
in
book
DC
franchises.
No.
Did you guys also hear about the new DC head talking how he wants the DC movies to become much more like the Joker in tone and much more serious and darker? I mean, here's the thing: Marvel needs to take note, right? Like, I haven't seen Batman. Doesn't seem like a very bright movie. It seems like Seven meets the Batman. Which, by the way, I can't wait for fucking Monday, dude. I cannot.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm a bit iffy about DC wanting to mention the Joker as wanting to follow that path.
Well, I think
there also is talk for like a one-off just for Joker.
Well, it's smart to keep them in separate. Keep it if you do separate dimensions. Look at what the Flash is doing. I mean, like keep it that realm. I don't know. I do hope that the end scenes that were deleted from the Batman with the Joker at least means that the seed for an Arkham Asylum movie is planted in their minds.
I want to see that guy as the Joker. I think people need to stop being like, but Heath Ledger, the dude's been dead forever. Like,
it's been a long time now,
yeah, let someone else play that role. Jared Leto was never a good choice. But let's see a new Joker, like pass the fucking mantle, just like we do with Batman.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen a good, like, slick-haired, suit-wearing type Joker. We really haven't.
The problem is Batman. The problem with superhero movies is they try to use like the main rogues gallery of every fucking villain, and there's such Alex said he really likes Morbius. The problem with that movie, Morbius is a cool fucking comic book character.
Yeah.
And he's out of left field and they fucked it up.
I would argue DC in the comics has always been more family friendly, but the movies have been much darker than the Marvel products have been.
DC nowadays is pretty much mature only.
If you watch on HBO Max, just like the series that they are doing for DC, it's not family anymore.
You know how they say as you get older you become more conservative. As a comic book fan, as you get older, you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna read DC comics only, just because like there's no like fucking cheeriness. Like it's just depressing.
Did you guys also hear that Daredevil actually will be continuing as a series?
With what's
that's
his name?
awesome, but give that guy a movie. Give him a movie.
Here's the thing.
They're supposed to be super canon.
They made all of Daredevil the show canon. Now I've read they scrubbed the angle with all four of those characters together. Like they've removed any sort of referencing to it.
Since we have time, are we gonna continue to just shit show?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give my score real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
5. Easy 5. 1 and 3 are my favorite.
5 for me. 1 is a classic. 2 I think is my favorite because I really like when they go to the whole Biff Hotel and it's fucking Sammy Hagar playing and you hear the bikers. There is a little bit of a Nothing But Trouble feel there.
Yes.
Like in that scene, there's a somewhat of a Nothing But Trouble feel, which I kind of was like, okay, maybe I'll re-examine Nothing But Trouble one day.
But before we jump back to DC movies, because I mean we can keep recording if you guys want.
Yeah, I'm a 5 as well.
I did want to ask you guys, since we're doing Back to the Future, what your favorite time travel movies are. There's a really good low budget movie that makes my mind melt every time I watch it. It's called Primer. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it.
You're talking about the original international one, right?
Yeah.
They did remake it, but I never watched it.
Is it Looper?
Looper, yes.
I really like Looper.
So Looper, and this is, I'm going to say, Looper is the last good Bruce Willis movie that went to theater.
Okay.
Man, I feel
My
so
kid's
bad
saying hi
about
to you
Bruce
guys.
Willis.
But I mean, I think because of his deteriorating condition, like Looper was his, and I gotta say, like Looper's a great way to go out. Like if he would have stopped working there, it'd have been like, holy shit, but he was still trying to make money while dealing with it, and that's why he's got nothing but very little dialogue.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
these
then
kind of
you
like guest characters.
then you
in
read
these
about
fucking-
like before this was all known, there's been like rumors of him like having an earpiece to remember his lines,
yeah.
him like fucking up shit and them going with it. And now it's just sad.
And then, well, even Kevin Smith
Yeah.
apologized for the shit he said in his book about him. Like, you know, I didn't really know. I'm kind of sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Which is all like, Kevin Smith's a piece of shit. Be real. Like, everybody gives him that nice guy motif. He's a fucking cunt.
I like his
Yeah.
movies, but I've never liked him as
Don't
a
get me-
person.
He fucked up He-Man.
Don't get me wrong, dude. Clerks, well, he didn't. He not only did he fuck it up, he shit on it.
Yeah, he fucked it up.
Well, he said wait for season 2. Well, let's see.
No, it doesn't
It's
get
already
better.
out.
I mean,
It's already out now, isn't it?
I like
Yeah.
Clerks too. Huge nerd fail. What's a huge nerd fail? What are you talking about, vet? I like Clerks 2. I think Clerks 2 is a goddamn hilarious movie. I wish I can get my hands on Dogma. Unfortunately, because of the rapist, that entire Miramax thing is under legal fucking
Weinstein?
discourse.
Fucker.
Dogma's an amazing movie. Clerks 2 is good. The Jay and Silent Bob movies, both of them are not bad, but I don't know. They're like overrated.
They're in
I
the vein
haven't
of
given
Cheech and
mine
Chong
there,
for
Vet,
me.
but I would have said Terminator 2. And Vet is right. That is the best time travel movie. However, it is, and here's where I'm going to kind of disagree, because I would argue that Terminator 2, while time travel is the catalyst for things going on in that movie,
That's
I
not a
would
time travel
argue
movie.
it's not, I mean, it is, but it's not, the movie's not about the time travel.
Yeah.
The movie, you could say, is about the ripples that the time travel can create in time, but I wouldn't say Terminator 2 is the focus isn't the fact that it's time travel. Edge of Tomorrow is
12 Monkeys I really
it could
did like,
it
too.
Edge
could
of Tomorrow
be
is
more,
not really time travel, though. That's more like I mean, more like
The
respawning.
Terminator series is more like the effects of a paradox has
Yeah, it's
than
the
actually
exploration of what you
plot
could do.
being time travel.
I'm just gonna say
But
this, by the way. Terminator Genesis gets shit on. I kind of like that fucking. If you haven't watched it in a while, the
It's
one where
good.
they
I like
go
it.
back to like the other movies, despite it being PG-13, it's a pretty goddamn good action movie. 12 Monkeys is awesome too. I do like.
I
that.
really like 12 Monkeys.
I never watched the TV show they did. Was it any good? Did anybody watch it?
The TV show, I watched it. It was interesting, but because it was on network or not network, it was a sci-fi. It started getting fucked with, but I did enjoy it. But
Terminator. So yeah, I'm not gonna say Terminator 2 because I argue with myself. I mean, it is a time travel movie, but it's not. It's not the main premise necessarily, especially for the second one.
I think T2 though, if you were to tell
Idiocracy.
me like what's the best action movie that resonates with you in your life, of all the action movies you've seen, it would be T2 easily.
Or if you ask me what my favorite, I mean, the problem is T2 hits so many genres. Like, is it even fair to say it's the greatest, the greatest sci-fi movie? Because I mean,
But that's
it's
the
sci-fi,
Idiocracy is
but
also
it's
good.
you know,
like if I can
it's
fucking,
amusing.
if I had months to figure out like the 10 best movies I've ever seen in my life, T2 would be on it because it is so many genres.
yeah, really, and it's just a
Um,
goddamn well-made movie. It's got stuff in it that at its time was technologically groundbreaking. I mean,
Yeah.
there's also some of the crazy shots of. Like, for me, the fact that James Cameron had to be filming in the helicopter because they wouldn't insure a cameraman for the helicopter chase. The whole scene where Schwarzenegger is on the 18-wheeler and then with the fucking MP5 through the windshield just lights liquid metal up. Like, there's so many... God damn it, I'm going to watch that movie again.
The black dude doing his breathing
Matt's getting
exercises
hard right
will
now.
always
Oh,
make me.
Chubb. Get right. What did you say, Lewis?
I said, what's his face? The doctor in the breathing scene will always get to me.
I don't know how long I can hold it. Is that how you die? I don't want to die like that. I don't want to be
hyperventilating.
with my shake weight. Yeah, I never fully understood. Even as a kid, I was like, "Why does he die like that?" Shut up.
Some people panic when they're shot or when they're wounded, and that's what makes them bleed out faster.
I think it was more of a device to be like, well, because they don't have a countdown because it's pressure
It's like the
sensitive.
cadence to,
It was like
yeah.
that's
No,
how.
Can you imagine
Yeah,
filming?
that's what I'm saying. People
They were
panic
like,
and it
okay,
makes
here's
them
your
bleed out
motivation.
faster.
You've shot, all right? You're holding the
You're
bomb.
bleeding like a stuck
We need you
pig.
to freak out a little bit. Ready? Action. Cut. What are you doing?
Stop breathing like that. This I don't know how to
I'm about
express
to
it.
die.
You think he did different takes? Like, and they're just like, no, no.
It makes me think of Crispin Glover's laugh in Back to the Future.
He's over here like, They're like, no, not like that, not like that.
Or like the TV shows where they tell the wife to breathe.
Star Wars is definitely sci-fi, but it's definitely fantasy sci-fi heavily.
Yeah, also it's Star Wars falls into the category of space opera, which is kind of a different
or
direction.
religion.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
if
a
you're,
space opera.
you know,
Some people consider Jediism a religion.
yeah, they call them incels.
My problem with Star Wars is Mandalorian started and I'm like, this is great, this is beautiful, it's something fresh. And then they brought the Jedi into it, and it's like Star Wars is this whole galaxy. Give me a movie like Rogue One, which I think is one of the best Star Wars movies.
The
it's
Darth
not
Vader
about
scene in
space
Rogue One
wizards.
is one of the most badass
so
scenes in
good.
any fucking Star Wars
It was
movie.
short. It was sweet. It was perfect.
I want a Star Wars IP or something where they don't talk about a fucking dude with a lightsaber.
Tell me you're not excited though about Obi-Wan and Vader being in it, even though he's played by Hayden Christensen. But what they could tell, I mean, if I get more Rogue One Vader in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I'm a happy motherfucker.
Well, it makes me think though, are they going to close out Obi-Wan with robot legs Darth Maul, with Wild Wild West Darth Maul coming to fight him? Because that's how it ends. That's how Obi-Wan's story ends in the comics before it jumps forward to the future.
Shouldn't Obi-Wan's story end, like, if they're smart, the season finale is when he's murdered? Or the episode before it, and then they bridge the gap of how he communicates to Luke, and he tells him how first off, they're going to need to have a scene where he's communicating with Qui-Gon. Then, if they were to end it, in my opinion, it should be like the episode before should either be like, you think it's going to be a happy thing, and then there's a time jump. They show him get murdered, and then talk to what are you trying to interrupt me about?
They're gonna have a throw to Qui-Gon. He's I have a particular set of skills. He's gonna pull out that Taken shit.
Yeah, he's gonna be Ra's al Ghul. He's not gonna be playing Qui-Gon Jinn.
Dude, the Taken sequels are pretty fucking bad. I watched the first one. There's two, but I watched the first one and I was like, fucking Taken, uncut edition is still a badass movie. And then I put on the sequel and I'm just like, oh man. Then I get to the third and I'm just at that. I watched like 20 minutes of it and I'm skipping scenes to the action scenes. And then the skipping in between the shit scenes to the action scenes by number 3 is like, really? Like, this is all I'm fucking getting? Like, yeah. Taken 1 is the only good one, and you have to watch the unrated cut.
Man, you know what oh, sorry, go ahead, Giovanni.
I agree with Anthony. Mandalorian should have had no Jedis in it, just for the sake of that story. There's more to the world of Star Wars than just Jedis. And then leave Obi-Wan to bring in Jedis.
Okay, so
what is
about
a Jedi?
What would you have rather had them go? Because I don't read the books. I'm not into that back lore of it. Where would you have taken Mandalorian then?
Well, it's so I the coolest thing about Star Wars is, a lot of it was inspired by Seven Samurai and spaghetti westerns. And the Star Wars universe is very much like the Wild West. There's so much cool shit that has fucking nothing to do with the Sith and the Jedi. You can make a show about the bounty hunters. Just give me that.
I will ask, is it, like, it's in the universe, but how much of the Star Wars fan base are you going to hold on to deeply if you don't have some element in the Force presented in your show?
Well, no. So if you get like super fucking nerdy, there's people who are Force sensitive. My problem is every time the Force is brought up in any Star Wars IP, I know that character's backstory and whatever ties back to the Skywalker family. And it's like, I want to be done with that. Like, take me somewhere else. If you want to give me another Jedi, that's fine. Don't give me back to the Skywalkers. I've seen that.
Then then the problem is with a Boba Fett or even a Mandalorian, especially with the time frame the Mandalorian takes place, if you didn't have that in there, the fan base is going to be like, you're intentionally not giving us what we want. Is the problem?
But the Star Wars fans are so
they're just like wrestling fans. And any deep fan base where they feel they have ownership of the property is always a problem, because you're either like, and I'm not talking about this new trilogy. The Last Jedi is a piece of shit.
Oh, it's
And
bad.
it's a fucking.
I hate the last.
It literally.
I spend hundreds of dollars on these these things.
It's literally not a good movie, and it's nothing to do with the actors. The story shit. Basically, they were like, "This is what fans want. We're gonna do the opposite on everything," and I thought it was a garbage movie. It is
crazy.
I mean,
my
even
single-
following the story of
single
the
most
Skywalker
hated movie
family,
of the Star Wars
like
franchise.
even the guy who plays Luke was like, "This is not. What are you doing with this character?" Like even he was like,
Then if he had any fucking more, like his, that he takes it, Star Wars is his franchise, then he said, I won't be in it if we do this. That would have showed me fortitude, but instead he took the fucking paycheck for a shit movie. He's a piece of shit like the rest of them.
My problem with Star Wars, and it's a cliche. I don't like the chosen one archetype in books and movies and blah blah blah. And I think if you
Worked out great in The Matrix 4.
Yeah, if you leave the Jedi and you dip more into the Western part of the Star Wars universe, you get some real cool gritty ass shit.
Well, they even I thought one of the best episodes, and we're just getting into season 2 really. One of the coolest episodes is when you meet Timothy Oliphant. That feels like one of the most Western episodes. I mean, I know it eventually goes into with the people in the swamp and in the farms and everything, but it's really one of the coolest episodes they have, because there's no Jedi, there's no Force. It's literally hostile takeover of a town. Like it has nothing to do with anything, which I think is awesome.
I will say though, Disney gets shit on a lot, and it's just a bunch of pedophiles in Mickey Mouse costumes. But
no, groomers.
Oh yeah, that's true. But the fact that Disney is going in this direction with grittier Star Wars IPs, buying the grittier Marvel shows back, it's cool that they're willing to go towards the darker stuff. And Moon Knight is a good example. Moon Knight's a dark character. I'm wondering how the next 4 episodes are going to be.
Yeah.
I like that they're letting people play with these ideas.
You have not watched the newest Moon Knight, right?
I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay, I've watched okay, so I don't want to spoil anything, because there is a power dynamic.
Yeah,
I haven't watched any of them.
I like that we're getting these darker superhero on the Marvel side, darker shit.
I would argue that Spider-Man No Way Home is a fairly dark movie, not even just because, spoiler alert, well, I won't even spoil it, certain integral characters die, but it's just the tonnage in that movie is much different.
Yes.
So Vet says Star Wars series has to have Jedis in it. He says, let's do a Terminator movie with no robots. Now, here's the thing.
No, Vet, you're banned.
Here's the thing. The Terminator movies have had their own problems. So first off, Schwarzenegger is constantly aging. I will give Schwarzenegger credit for Terminator 3. He did work out and have the same size biceps he had for Terminator 2, and it was 10 years later. However, you get to the problem of Terminator was too masculine, so we need to butcher it. So now it's a female Terminator bad guy. And then you have Sarah Connor, played by a midget, is now the badass in this movie. The guy, the chick Drago was raping. You have her play Sarah Connor with dark hair and everything for some reason. Completely butcher the character. And then the next movie, they're going to fix everything. It's rated R. What do we have? The hero lead Terminator is a weird female symbiote. So Terminator has had its own run of problems where they've taken the franchise and shit on it. And this is why I say Genesis needs to be revisited. Because while it was PG-13 and it had some issues, the fact that they go back, and despite it having Khaleesi, which I think she's a terrible actor, besides her being in it, it did revisit things from the first 2 movies, I think, effectively. So, Terminator's it has its own problems with that. I would agree, though, and here's the thing is, as somebody who doesn't read the novels and things like that, I am at least aware that it is a much vaster Star Wars universe than we've seen on screen at all. But the problem is if you're not a fan of the novels and you're not a deep Star Wars fan, the studios do have to calculate what's going to catch on for people. We may get the main base, but we got Disney Plus to run, and these things are costing us $12 million an episode. Where should we actually put this money?
But again,
I'm in the vein with Vet's. I have an issue with Vet's comment, and I think that issue is with a lot of the fans of Star Wars. Star Wars made Jedis. Jedis don't make Star Wars. And I think Vet is Jedis make Star Wars, and I disagree with that.
Well, so I will side with that. Like, you can have Jedis, but the problem with Star Wars is it might as well be called Skywalkers.
So
Give me a Jedi or a Sith. Stop tying it back to Luke Skywalker.
So here's the problem I think they have with Jedis in any Star Wars content is they've never been hailed since the original trilogy as the power they are, right? Much like with Master Chief. In my opinion, if you're going to introduce a Jedi, it should be a combat scene and you should show how deadly these motherfuckers actually are. But they should in no way impact the main story. And I think that's where the problem where Mandalorian comes in, because I haven't watched second season yet, but he does develop somewhat of a relationship with Luke, correct?
Sort of, kind of.
Well, Luke is in it, but it's a Luke post episode 7, right?
Yes, it's right at the end of the Empire falling.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, Vet. It's not necessarily Jedi and Sith or the balance of the Force. That's not true. It's good and evil. The Force does not cling itself to specifics. It's
but also
in the environment.
If you get deep into Star Wars lore, like, we as the viewers, Jedis are the good guys. Throughout the universe, people don't want to fuck with Sith. They don't want to fuck with Jedis. Jedis are like Christianity, and a lot of atheist people are like, stay away, like, you're a bad person. And once you get into like the Legends books, which are really good, people see a Jedi and they're like, no, like, you're a bad person too. Like, get the fuck away from me. And I think it'd be cool to go into the darker parts of Star Wars where, people see Jedis and they're like, that's a bad wizard, just like the dude with the red lightsaber.
Why don't we give stories for that? Like, because I, for one, I am a Star Wars fan. I'd like to see some Jedi Sith action. Only because you haven't seen any real Star Wars lightsaber battles since the prequels. You get one in Last Jedi, you get, I think, one in Force Awakens, and then one in the final movie. Like, you haven't gotten much of that.
A perfect example is the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One. There are a lot of Star Wars Legends books where people see Jedis like that. Like, no, get the fuck out.
That's what I want. I want, whether it be a Jedi or a Sith, I want the troops that they're coming after to be shitting their pants.
Yeah,
it should be just like how Master Chief shouldn't be, he's just another soldier that's super powerful. He should come in and wipe the battlefield like you do in the game. That should be his role.
I have a really good example for this. So there's a comic which they're actually turning into a show, and they're probably gonna fuck it up. It's called GCPD, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's called Gotham City Detectives. It's a comic that's set in Gotham City, and the comic centers around the police force. No Batman. Batman's in the comic, but every time you see him, it's disappeared. Fuck. Like, he just walked away. And it's like, it's cool because it sets Batman up as this like godly figure, like, oh my god, what is that? But it follows the police department. So every time you see Batman, he's fucking terrifying, and then he disappears. And it's almost like he's like a fucking, like a mythical legend that people run into.
I think Snyder did that best in Batman vs. Superman. If you had had a Batman movie that was set to the same tone of the warehouse scene, it would have been successful.
Where he brands the dude. And
yes,
it's fucking terrifying.
Yes. If you would have had a Batman, like, exactly, Batman is a horror film, which is, they went with psychological thriller / action horror, I believe, for the new Batman movie. Which Batman's a dark character. The character is on the precedence of his mother and father dying right in front of his eyes. It's a dark fucking character. Why do we need to brighten it up? Like, I love the Nolan trilogy. But even that character, until you get to the third one, which is the weakest.
Yeah.
It's the darkness within. Like, that's the problem with Batman, is he's a mopey motherfucker. Like, that's him. He's like, and I mean, even Superman, I think they treated him pretty well in Man of Steel. I think the biggest problem with Batman vs. Superman is Superman and how they treat him in that. And we all know how Justice League turned out. And here's the problem. Now you have the DC head going, well, I think we should stick to the darker thing. So is the Snyder universe going to be put back together? You've got Mr. Flash getting fucking arrested for telling an old couple he's gonna fucking kill him. So that
Also choking out women and
that character might be, or that casting may be different. There's a bunch of people saying the guy who plays Flash in the show should be him now. But how does that work when they've had the Flash from the movie and the Flash from the fucking show in when they cross dimensions? How does that work? They really fucked themselves because they cast another psychotic.
They ruined their universe connection.
As soon as they fucked over Snyder, they fucked up everything. If they would have at least let him finish it, you could have had somewhat a finale to that and then moved on. But now you have that piece of shit theatrical release that everybody's got to take as canon, and nobody gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah, I think they're wanting Flashpoint to be like this. It's funny because
With
they've been
Michael
working on the
Keaton?
Flash forever, and then Doctor Strange is like, "We're doing a multiverse thing."
Oh,
And I'm
dude.
sure the DC guys were like, "Motherfucker."
So did you see they're labeling it as the official first Marvel horror movie?
Are they really?
Yeah, it's dude. I don't know. I'm still not going to go to theaters. I'm hanging on. Fuck that. I don't want to go to theaters.
Yeah.
But I am really looking forward to Sam Raimi's Multitude of Madness. They say it's basically a continuation of Spider-Man: No Way Home.
They do reference Marvel Zombies in it. Of him turning into a zombie and Red Ridge.
But they've already got that cover art for it where he is the zombified version, so they're definitely going to deal in that.
But they're also trying to say it's chaos magic that's making him brittle.
So here's the thing: the question is, are they going to do it where you are going to have Tom Cruise in a dimension playing Tony Stark? Like at this point, now it's like, I mean, a lot of the rumors for Spider-Man came true. So it's like, why shouldn't I believe the rumors now? Like, it's going to have some crazy shit in it, I think. It's going to be awesome.
But they're saying that the zombies are not going to be zombies. It's going to be the chaos magic. Because remember when what's her name uses the fucking magic in the TV show? Oh, you guys didn't watch the TV show.
Wanda?
I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't watch Wanda.
She uses the chaos magic and her hand starts to go fucking black.
I know her kids are going to be in Doctor Strange, too.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll bring the white version of Vision. This is the problem.
The white power version.
When you
Vision,
have,
stop burning crosses.
Like we talked about Star Wars having the issue. When you have a universe that you're working with, I would not want to be a writer for one of these movies.
Well, it's what happens when greed overcomes, right? And like it is like, how do we pump out more Marvel products? Is the first step. Like that's the first thought. How do we milk this bitch for more? And then you build stories around that. And I don't really have any interest in Wanda, and I will just read the references in Doctor Strange. I'm not going to watch that. I really don't care. I don't care about the other show that they're making, spawned from the villain of Wanda. I don't give a shit.
I mean, it also says a lot that I hear they're going to do more Daredevil, and I'm like, I want to see that, but I don't care to watch the Winter Soldier show, the fucking...
Yeah, I don't either.
It's just...
I mean, out of all the shows out there in the Marvel right now, Daredevil is what I'd watch again. All right, let's wrap this up. We've been going a couple hours. What does Vet say? Proved it. Justice League Uncut was awesome. It proved to the world. Yeah, that's what they also kind of fucked up by releasing that, because then it's like it proved to the world that they made a horrible decision. It also uses the What If TV series. Crazy they are pulling material from a cartoon. I mean, at this point, they got to pull it from wherever they can. They've really milked the Marvel cow.
Well, What If is an actual comic series that gets extremely bonkers.
I'm looking forward to. I mean, it really depends on where Doctor Strange 2 goes, because I don't know what the roadmap is anymore for Marvel.
I don't know. Everything changes. They push the dates and all this shit.
I know Blade is on the horizon somewhere. His cameo was in Eternals.
I know the X-Men are going to make an appearance.
We've all been watching
Doctor
since.
Strange
I hope Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
I heard it's returning characters.
I hope so.
The birth of the fucking Marvel universe. So at this point in our 30s, we're just like, oh, they're doing this. Okay, they're doing that.
I mean,
okay.
it's literally, yeah. I mean, what was Iron Man?
30s.
Daredevil was in the Spider-Man movie. Yeah, he did a cameo in that one, which is a pretty cool cameo. How he catches the rock.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we've been going a while. Oh well, they've already confirmed that the Daredevil TV show that was on Netflix is canon because they're all on Disney Plus now. And the report is they're going to continue that storyline in a series. I guess Vincent D'Onofrio is reportedly coming back as Kingpin, which hopefully opens up more Punisher, because we all know my bitch about Punisher, that the last shot of the show is the only real thing of the Punisher you get to see.
It's got to stay dark, though.
Oh, it's got to go darker.
Yeah.
It's got to go pure action movie fucking mayhem because you already gave how many seasons of Slow? 2? 2 seasons of Slow is too many. Now it's got to go balls to the wall.
Thanks, Vet, for the amazing stream and bravo to us.
Thank you,
thanks
Vet.
for participating.
Do you wanna raid Rump since she's streaming right now?
She's streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's raid Rummy.
Is this a sexual term? I don't understand.
Rum is her Twitch name.
Yeah, Rum is her church name.
But she's streaming, so we're gonna say hi.
She's playing Lego Star Wars, I believe.
Oh, that
Ooh,
game looks very
I just
pretty.
bought it and installed it. I haven't had a chance to play
Oh
it.
no,
yet.
I'm sorry. She's playing Lego Harry Potter.
It looks so
My fault.
pretty.
Dude, well they actually I watched the Digital Foundry video on it and they were saying like it's its own engine and they figured out how to layer things to the point where it looks incredible. Let's see,
That's
Rum's
it.
doing Lego Harry
That
Potter.
said Punisher will be transgender.
Oh god, I fucking hope not. I won't watch it. I'm just not gonna deal with it at this point. Like, stop butchering shit for the sake of butchering shit. Here we go.
Fuck, now I want to buy Lego Star Wars.
Dude, I haven't even tried it, but I've got it installed and it's ready to go this weekend. I'm gonna try some of it. Guys, we're gonna raid Rum. Thank you everybody, Vet, everybody who was watching, sticking with us. I know we're a little longer and later tonight. You guys have a wonderful evening. I'm gonna raid Rum and then I'm gonna end mine. Love you.
Yep, look out for the Batman review too.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
We're done.